country thanks you, embraces you, and pledges to you, we will never forget our heroes.
He led the annual tribute at Arlington National Cemetery in Virginia and laid a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Formal tributes also held in D.C. at the World War II Memorial and the Vietnam Wall, where more than 58,000 names are etched. Fox News, fair and balanced.
My mom is really great. She's as sweet as she can be. When I need some help, I know she's always there for me. My mom loves me all the time, even when I'm naughty. Thank you for all you do. Hugwai Sahau, Mommy.
For the entire month of May, stop by FHP Vision Center for 25% off sunglasses and 30% off lenses with ophthalmic frames. Receive an entry form to win a Coach Clutch pouch when you buy any Coach eyewear. Conditions apply. Happy Mother's Day, Guahan, from your friends at FHP.
In this divided world, there are still a few things that unite us.
One small step for man.
The thrill of an exciting championship game.
Fires to the end zone. Touchdown!
The sound of great music.
The Grammy goes to...
And the love we have for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam presents to you For the Love of Burgers menu. For a limited time, we want you to put down that fork, tuck that napkin in your collar, and go for broke with an amazing burger for just $11.99. 8 burgers to try, and time isn't wasting. Ruby Tuesday Guam lunchtime. See you soon.
More than 40 tons of drugs collected during an annual take-back program in New England.
580 collection sites were set up across New England for people to turn over expired, unused, and unwanted prescription drugs. The DEA says nearly 9,000 pounds of opioids were brought in. Most of the narcotics were collected in Maine, followed by Massachusetts and New Hampshire. The program aims to keep the drugs off the streets and from being misused and abused in homes.
Fox's Jane Fergus. An American freed in Venezuela last week is heading home to Utah after meeting with President Trump over the weekend.
26-year-old Joshua Holt was held in a Venezuelan prison for 2 years, accused of stockpiling weapons, a claim he and his family dispute. He said he was going there to marry a woman he'd met online, a woman who is now his wife. After being released, he, his wife, and parents met with President Trump at the White House Saturday.
Just so grateful for what you guys have done and for thinking about me and caring about me, just a normal person. So it really touches me, and thank you.
You've been very brave, actually. You've been incredibly brave.
He and his wife have been receiving medical treatment in D.C., but are expected to return to Salt Lake City tonight. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
Venezuela recently expelled the 2 top U.S. diplomats there after the U.S. called the re-election of the socialist president a sham. The first alcoholic drink made by Coca-Cola hits the Asian market, going on sale today in Japan, hoping to tap into the existing demand there for fizzy, fruity alcoholic beverages. Coke's version is a lemon variety that comes in 3 options for alcoholic content, ranging from 3 to 8%. And so far, they have no plans to start selling it in other markets, including the U.S. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News Radio.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Chili's Smokehouse menu just got tastier with their new smoked honey chipotle short ribs, marinated and smoked for hours. Try the smoked honey chipotle short ribs and chicken combo, or enjoy the family combo with mouth-watering honey chipotle short ribs, Texas-sized baby back ribs, crispy chicken, and juicy barbecue chicken served with home-style French fries and corn on the cob. It's the Chili's Smokehouse menu, now with smoked honey chipotle short ribs, available for a limited time. Chili's, more life happens here.
With the largest inventory of rental equipment on Guam, East West Rental Center is sure to have the tool you need to get your job finished quickly. From equipment rental, party rental, parts and service to used equipment, East West Rental Center has what you need. Call East West Rental Center at 646-1463 or visit them online and browse through their online rental catalog at eastwestrental.com. They're located in Upper Tumon, right across St. John's School. East West Rental Center, providing the island of Guam with quality equipment rentals since 1972.
Manila, Osaka, Fukuoka.
Dreaming about your next vacation? With the FHB United Mileage Plus credit card, you can get 10% off on United Airlines flights from Guam to Manila, Osaka, or Fukuoka when you book your ticket by May 31. Book your flight on United.com at a United City ticket office or your local travel agency using promo code FHB18M. Visit FHB.com/United Fair Sale 18 for more details. Terms and conditions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Howdy, folks. Can't get enough of my KFC Smoky Mountain Barbecue? I'm bringing more to Guam this month with my new KFC Smoky Mountain Grilled Barbecue Chicken. KFC's chicken coated with a sweet and smoky barbecue sauce. Oh, and by the way, Smoky Mountain Barbecue is still available on KFC's Extra Crispy Chicken and boneless strips. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 6 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan, and here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The total is in for the additional revenue collected in April by the increased business privilege tax. The governor's office announcing yesterday that about $6 million more was collected in April over last year. That's about $19 million total compared to $16 million in 2017. Make that $22 million total compared to 2017. The new tax law took effect April 1st, imposing a 25% increase in the BBT, boosting it up to 5%. That lasts until the end of this fiscal year when the rate drops back to 4%. And the new 2% sales tax kicks in. A release from Adelup yesterday, quoting Revenue Tax Director John Camacho, is saying that if the revenue collections continue at this pace for the rest of the fiscal year, we should be okay, meaning that there should be enough revenue to cover the $67 million shortfall that GovGuam is facing this fiscal year. Governor is also warning that it's too soon to make any changes to the new tax law. He acknowledged that there has been some discussion about revising or repealing it, but without addressing the anticipated $100 million shortfall anticipated for next year or responding to the needs of GMH or public schools, removing that funding, said the governor, would be irresponsible. Meanwhile, Governor Calvo agreeing to extend the tax amnesty application period for another 3 weeks through June 19th. It was supposed to end today. The extension applies to the application period only. The deadline for full payment of past due taxes remains August 6th, and the terms are unchanged. Delinquent taxpayers must deposit at least 10% of the principal they owe. When they file their application for amnesty, all penalties and interest are forgiven. Revenue Tax Director John Camacho telling the Guam Daily Post on Friday that he recommended extending the application period to the governor after receiving numerous requests from delinquent taxpayers who said they needed more time to secure financing from a bank to pay off what they owe. We'll have more news after this.
Rain. It's nature's way of cleansing the earth. Yet by the time that rainwater makes its way to your home, it may not be exactly the same as nature created it. A Connecticut water treatment system can improve the quality of the water you and your family drink and use throughout your home, so you can be sure your water is clear, clean, and fresh, just as nature intended it to be. Connecticut, for refreshing ideas on water.
American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water. Call American WaterTech, 649-2301, or email info@americanwatertech.com.
Circle K has just made it easier to select products that are better for you and your healthier lifestyle. When looking for items that are low carb, low sodium, low calories, low sugar, high in antioxidants, or high in protein, just look for the easy-to-spot better for you labels so you can find these items at a glance. Come by and see for yourself. It has never been more convenient to fill up on anything and everything that are better for you. Circle K. Take it easy.
11 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. Members of Guam's motorcycle community created a makeshift memorial for one of their own yesterday afternoon, a day after Andrew J. Damien was killed when his bike crashed on Route 2 in Agadir and landed in a ditch. Ladies of Harley officer Kelly Rodriguez said Damien was a member of the Harley of Guam and Chedluship Familia Motorcycle Clubs. He was 33 years old, she said. Damien was on a ride Sunday with about 20 other motorcyclists from various clubs, said Rodriguez, when the crash happened. Guam Police spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapao said that the crash occurred about 3 p.m. Sunday afternoon near Chalan Lanchero in Agate. He was rushed to Naval Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 3:37 Sunday afternoon. His death marks the 8th traffic fatality of the year on Guam's roads. Members of the Guam Fire Department did their part to help end world hunger yesterday on Memorial Day, which was also World Hunger Day. Firefighters gathered at Kamalan Caridad, where they prepared lunch and dessert for up to 150 individuals, made possible by the near $1,000 raised through the firefighters' generosity. Captain John Uggan said he looked forward to serving along with his fellow firemen who volunteered on their day off. If there's a need, he said, we try to fill that need. And fireman and event coordinator Nicholas Garrido said, we're here to give back to the community. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Right now with some weather.
Says partly cloudy today with isolated showers. Winds out of the east 15 to 20 miles an hour. Daytime highs are expected near 90 with a maximum heat index this afternoon about 103. Overnight lows are expected to be a little bit cooler, around 79 degrees. Sunset tonight at 6:43. Sunrise tomorrow morning at 5:52. And as we like to do early this morning, put the internet feed for the National Weather Service and the big satellite map. And here's Mike Knight to tell you what I'm looking at.
That's right. And, of course, Guam right there again, just to the right of the pointer in our timestamp. When you're looking at this satellite, you're looking through the depths of the atmosphere. So you're seeing all the layers. You see stuff moving from left to right. That's actually in the upper levels. That's a very strong subtropical jet stream that poked down here, and it's just ripping the tops off of the blobage down to the south of us, those thunderstorms, so not much chance of development there. Now, if you look up around Guam, you see stuff moving from east to west. That's at the lower levels. That's at the surface. That's our trade winds, and they're bringing in the low-level clouds, a little bit of moisture, not anything really to holler about. So just a couple of layers going over there, and not much rain for us. We talked about that haze coming in from Kilauea, which has been kind of unique. We're not getting it as badly as they're getting it down in the Marshall Islands and
but that's what it is.
Because
as I'm driving to work this morning, you could see into the streetlights. There's a cone, there's material in the air, and so you believe that might actually be some of the remnants of the Kilauea explosion.
Absolutely, yeah, that's absolutely some of that haze. It's probably not really even much particulate matter as much as it is just kind of smoke. It's just a smoky residue left over. We've got. Keep in mind,
smell. I thought there'd be a smell.
No, it's just it's just a little too far away, I think, for it to smell, and a lot of that's been rained out of it on the way, but it hasn't rained all the smoke out of the air. And keep in mind that ever since last week, Friday, things have really ramped up in the Puna district of Hawaii. 40 more homes were destroyed. They're up to like 85 homes now, and many of the fishers have really started to get very active over there. So this could continue for us, this hazy thing, for several more weeks.
Wow. Is there anything in there that we got to worry about? I'm not going to say that we got, what do they call it there? The lays.
The lays, yeah.
We don't have to worry so much about that. But,
no.
I'm worried. Now, when it starts raining through that stuff, I remember years ago we had up here in the Marianas there was one of those explosions, and there was all this dirt and soot and ash that ended up on the cars after the rains, and I thought, well, that's probably not good for the finish on my my excellent ride.
No, it tends to be a little glassy, so you want to get that stuff off as gently as you can when it gets on. And as for any sort of
little microfiber thing, we'll talk some more about it. That's all the time that we've got for the weather. In this case, brought to you by Bank Pacific, where others put branches, they place roots.
Don't wait another day and waste another dollar. You can start saving today. At Guahan Insurance Services, we are here to help protect your investment and save you money. We offer insurance advising for business, car, and home insurance. So come and visit us at our new office at Camacho Landmark Center at Marine Corps Drive in Timoning, and let us show you that you can count on us for all your insurance needs. Call 475-1162.
Hopefully you were able to get to King's yesterday and wipe out the Salisbury steak. If not, you're going to have to wait until next week. It's Tuesday morning, and that means Tuesday lunch at King's is going to be beefsteak tomorrow. Tomorrow, pork sinigang. Thursdays, meatloaf, and Fridays, beef tanak-tak. Or choose the pick 2 or pick 3 combos. Lunch happening. It's a thing. It's happening at King's.
With the largest inventory of rental equipment on Guam, East West Rental Center is sure to have the tool you need to get your job finished quickly. From equipment rental, party rental, parts and service to used equipment, East West Rental Center has what you need. Call East West Rental Center at 646-1463 or visit them online and browse through their online rental catalog at eastwestrental.com. They're located in Upper Tumon, right across St. John's School. East West Rental Center, providing the island of Guam with quality equipment rentals since 1972.
It says here, portions of the program brought to you by Security Title, when you absolutely need confidentiality in your real estate transactions.
So you want to buy a house, but you don't know how much you could borrow. So what do? Well, you come to Bank Pacific and get pre-qualified. Sit down with one of our home loan specialists and let us see how much we can lend you so you know how much you can spend on your new home. Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, conditions apply. Come pre-qualified today.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
.17, and I'll repeat, it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. And I'm doing that, trying to actually memorize it, because about 3 or 4 times already today, I've typed into places Monday. It's not Monday. It's the day after. There was a 3-day weekend, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm somewhere in between. Wow, I'm so happy to get back to work after that long 3-day weekend. There was a ton of stuff going on in this town.
Yeah, I got up yesterday at 3 anyway. The alarm went off. I forgot to turn it off. So
Yeah. Same thing. And, got and decided, well, I'm awake. I better do something. So I hit the road and did some running. But I'm somewhere in between. Wow, I'm so happy to be back at work. To the other extreme, which is, okay, that was fun. When is the next 3-day weekend? when do we get to do that again? And according to the Choice Broadcasting employee Get the Day Off calendar, the next to the holidays, the next holiday that Kevin Kerrigan can say, Monday's a holiday, I'm not coming to work.
Even though I did.
Well, for your other boss, July 4th, which is Independence Day, is the next big. I don't know if it's a Monday.
No,
I don't think it's a Monday. You've got a calendar in it?
You know, if you're going to have a day off, though, Monday's the one to have.
I think.
You know?
No, I'm with you.
It's better than a Wednesday when you got to come back. Holy smokes!
Like,
I got to come back. No,
like I said,
July 4th.
The alarm went off, and there was absolutely no way. I tried. I mean, I really tried to go back to sleep. Just hugging the pillow and doing it. Okay, close. Screw your eyeball shut. I'm going to go to pillow. No.
Once the shock set in that I did not turn off my alarm, and
it's too late.
I criticized myself a little bit. I was like, oh well. Might as well go on with it.
Well, and so we're here, and this I got to say, for all of the people that checked in yesterday, I did get a couple of messages on the Facebook from people going, "Hey, dude, where are you? It's time to go to do talk radio work. Where's the show?" And 2 minutes later, they type back, "Oh, never mind. it's holiday. Enjoy your day off, kids."
I saw some of that.
And so we did. A bunch of things that happened over the weekend. I'll tell you some of the things that were in my table of contents. But the line from the guy on the Facebook Live this morning is, "Purple haze all around. Don't know if I'm coming up or down. Am I happy or in misery? Whatever it is, that girl, finish it. Put a spell on me." Yeah. Because of the conversation about the haze that we're looking at. And if you were up early and driving around, you might have seen under the light fixtures. Yeah, give the guys over at the National Weather Service a call just to see what they're up to. But a little cone of particulate underneath all of the light. And from my vantage yesterday, it's not just a nighttime thing. From my vantage yesterday, which was half mile offshore, I got talked into going on a dolphin watch yesterday. Yeah, and, yeah. It was,
Did you see any?
Yes. Yes,
Cool.
there were dolphins. There was not a last minute thing, but a couple of friends of mine went on this boat ride. I want to say Friday or something like that. And I said, "Dude, where was my invitation?" They said, "We're going back out Monday. You want to come?" Sure, let's go. And so we down to Agate and got on Jack's boat, and he's with a company called Discovery Tours, and got on his boat. Wasn't a long thing, and just kind of went out a little bit into the Agate part of the ocean there. And not one, but two incredible little spinner dolphin pods. Just terrific.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and I kept wanting to jump in the water and wrestle with them. Because doesn't it look like that would be something? Apparently, it's against the law. There's like federal laws or something like that for harassing the male.
They're playful, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they were having a good time. And like I said, my whole thought was they look so slippery and wet, and I want to go in there and wrestle with them and see if it's as much fun as it. But I didn't. I stayed on the boat, and then we went to another place. And just kind of sat and swam around with the Korean tourists, which is kind of, there's something baffling about that. Maybe somebody can answer the question for me. Maybe there's some research that we can do in this market, but I don't understand how it is that they come all the way to Guam and tropics, 13 degrees above the equator, and the sun shining about 360 days of the year, and they come here and they get on these boats, and they're literally covered from head to toe. There is no skin that you can see. There's just these blobs of Korean mass moving through there. What?
I have to think that there's some aversion to sunscreen
or sunlight.
That too.
Vampires.
But I mean, we avoid trying to get burned too. But we just put on some sunscreen. But they say, nope, that's even better. Cover myself in black cloth.
So, anyways, I wanted to find out, and we've got our own, observational tactics and techniques here at the radio station with Mike and all of his computer gizmos. But I thought maybe I'd call somebody over at the National Weather Service and find out if they are aware and what they think is in that haze that is over the island over the last few days. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, Ray. How are you?
I'm doing terrific. Nice to hear from you again.
Yeah.
It's been a little bit. So, what's in the air right now?
Well, the trade winds come from the east-northeast, as we all know, pretty much.
Right.
And if you track it way back to the east-northeast, we have a target of opportunity there called Kilauea.
Ah, I see.
So by the time it gets this far out, it's been through a lot of showers, and it's getting pretty thin, but it is still noticeable.
I'm beginning to notice it. I was, as I said, half mile offshore. You start looking at the mountains and the vistas that we have here, and it looks like somebody needs to clean the lens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, is it going to get any worse? We had Mike talking a second ago about more of these fissures opening up, and there seems to be a whole lot more burning in Kilauea. Are we going to see more of that haze moving in, or is this about as bad as it's going to get for the duration?
Well, in a few days, what's going to happen is we have a frontal system moving off from the mid-latitudes, and it's going to curl the winds around so it actually will not be coming our way anymore. Now, a future occurrence, I can't rule that out.
Right. Well, and Kevin just showed me a picture of either a beautiful sunrise or a beautiful sunset out in the Marshall Islands, and the headline that says that they are what did they say on the headline there, Kev? The colorful language they used.
They call it VOG, not fog, VOG, VOG from Kilauea, Blankets, Marshall Islands, and it's moving west.
Yeah. Very common occurrence, actually, on the west coast of Hawaii, the Big Island, and Kona. They have a VOG situation. It's just common knowledge. You deal with VOG when you live there. Very similar to what we're having here.
All right. So is there anything in there, Paul, that we need to worry about? I mean, is this going to ruin the finish of my car?
It's possible. There's just a tinge of sulfur, but when the visibilities are only barely affected like this, there's not much of it.
Okay. And now, just because I'm curious, we're into summertime now. Practically, it's end of May and in the beginning of June here in a couple of days. Anything that we can anticipate weather-wise between here and the end of summer? Is it going to be breezy? Is it going to be wet? Is there going to be? I'm not going to say the word. I'm not going to say the T word. You suppose you guys got any long-range forecasting for any heavy weather?
Well, this weekend it's looking like the rain is going to pick up, and we could even get a few thunderstorms from an upper-level trough. And those are fairly common in May and June time frame. And it's one of our most prolific thunder producers.
Interesting. All right, so I'll have the umbrella standing by, and we'll get ready for some wet weather this weekend.
It's looking that way, yes.
All right. Well, we'll check back with you in a couple of days, Paul. I appreciate your time.
Oh, sure thing, Ray. Have a great day.
I certainly will. I appreciate you taking some time with us here and be one of the many voices that we're going to be talking about and playing with on The Point. Table of contents this morning, is there anything in there? The top story that I thought was very interesting, and Kevin and I spoke about it for just a little bit before the start of the show, and it has to do with the numbers are in. Last week, we got some preliminary numbers on what the net effect was of the increase by 1% of the business privilege tax, and it looks like the figure now is they've managed to collect, what is it, about $6 million more?
No, $6 million total, so it's double from last week. So $6 million more in the month of April from the 1 percentage point increase in the BBT. Last week, we heard from DOA Director Byrne, who said preliminary figures were about $3 million, but they were still counting the receipts. Now they've counted all the receipts. The total is $6 million.
$6 million that they have collected on top of what they would have normally collected.
$6 million more compared to last year. Last year in April, they collected $16 million. This year, they've collected $22 million.
Okay, so obviously there is it was a happy increase for the government of Guam.
Yeah.
Gee, where'd all that money come from? I know where it came from. It's extra dough that they shook out of our pockets. And this will go along with another story that you and the guys over at the Daily Post have been chasing around, which is a conversation about the repeal of the tax increases. There is going to be a hearing, my understanding is on the 11th of June, and that topic is going to be gone over at the legislature again.
There's 3 bills up for that hearing. One is Senator San Nicolas's repeal of the sales tax. The other 2 are bills that would revise the sales tax, limit its impact.
Regine's posting and Esteves' offering on that. So there'll be 3 different measures, but the conversation is all going to be the same. It's going to be changing what I'm sure the governor's office is very happy with so far, and they've already sent out the warning that, hey,
don't do that.
It's you guys are messing around here, and so it will come down, I think, to that same kind of argument that we were having in February about what it is that we want to do with this, and conversations about, well, how much additional spending has been taking place, additional hires that took place in the midst of this fiscal crisis. Anyway, we'll talk about that and plenty more. But this one here requires a sound effect. Mike, this is another big story that broke over the weekend, and I personally don't know how to handle the news of the spam recall.
That's sad, man. Come on. I try to stay away from the sad stuff. Yeah.
Where's the spam recall?
Because it's got metal pieces in it. That's crazy. What kind of
it comes in a metal can. It comes in a metal can. At some point, there was going to be something from the can part that got mixed in with the food part.
That's a problem when we eat that part.
Yeah, apparently so. There's numerous articles and places where you can go and check the bottom of your can of the best buy date, best if served by, which is odd. I saw one of the articles. I think it was the one in the Daily Post that said it was, the best buy date of like 2021. I was under the impression that you could keep spam for like 50 years in the can, and it would be so it should have said like best if eaten by 2070 or something like that.
Right.
But 2021 I guess was the best buy date. But so check your numbers against what has been posted. There's some of the stores that say, yeah, we checked our inventory and the SKUs and we didn't sell that.
Keep in mind that can you saw may have arrived in 1985. So
there's also that possibility. 6:30 in the morning. This is The Point. The Ray Gibson Show is on and underway. Mike Knight takes care of pushing buttons, and Kevin Kerrigan does headlines just like this from the Guam Daily Post.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Daily Post this morning, the former Speaker of the Guam Legislature believes that the University of Guam Presidential Search Committee should start its selection process all over again. if it can do so without placing the university in legal jeopardy. Judy Wonpat is one of the local candidates who applied for the position of president of UOG, but she didn't make the final cut. Wonpat telling the Guam Daily Post that she was disappointed and she questioned the selection process that has reduced 60 applicants to just 3 off-island candidates who have never been to Guam, one of whom has a controversial past that includes allegations of sexual harassment. Hormel Foods is voluntarily recalling more than 228 pounds of canned pork and chicken products that may be contaminated with pieces of metal. That's 228,000 pounds. Some of the products were shipped here to Guam. The suspect products were produced on February 8th, 9th, and 10th of this year. If you purchased Hormel chicken or pork products, check the bottom of the can. If you see EST 199N on the bottom, bring it back to the store for a refund. Officials say there have been 4 reports of minor oral injuries stateside from consumers who ate the contaminated products. A throng of active military personnel, veterans, and laypeople packed Guam's Veterans Cemetery in Pidi yesterday for the annual Memorial Day services. Senator Joe San Augustine opened the ceremony, reminding those in attendance that Memorial Day weekend was not just a holiday, but a day to reconnect with our history by honoring and remembering those who gave their lives for the ideals we cherish. Guam and the rest of Micronesia have lost 40 sons and daughters in Iraq and Afghanistan since 2003, said Guam National Guard Brigadier General Johnny Lizama. He also spoke about Guam's high enlistment rate and the more than 9,000 veterans who live on Guam today. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Portions of the program, in fact, iConnect time is 6:32. iConnect wants you to connect longer for less with their incredible mobile and push-to-talk plans.
Are you a homeowner looking to save money on your power bill? Ever thought about getting solar on your roof? If the answer is yes, Micronesia Renewable Energy will install a solar energy system on your roof for zero money down, so you can save money on your power bill. Sign up in the month of May, and MRE will pay you $400 in cash. That's right. In the month of May, get a solar energy system on your roof, and MRE will pay you $400 just for signing up. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
Portions of the program also brought to you by APL. That's American President Line, shipping the future. Future.
Smoky Mountain Barbecue.
Howdy, folks. Can't get enough of my KFC Smoky Mountain Barbecue? I'm bringing more to Guam this month with my new KFC Smoky Mountain Grilled Barbecue Chicken. KFC's chicken coated with a sweet and smoky barbecue sauce. Oh, and by the way, Smoky Mountain Barbecue is still available on KFC's Extra Crispy Chicken and boneless strips. KFC, it's finger licking good.
There's no traffic because it's 6:34 Tuesday morning and there's no school for lots and lots of students. GDOE is out. That doesn't mean that there aren't places where you're going to start to see traffic build up. It's still Guam. It's still a work day, and there is still Marine Corps Drive up in Dededo, and there's lots of people that are moving through there and beginning to push their way south. Don't see anything happening at either of the intersections in front of Anderson Air Force Base or Big Navy. So I'll just keep an eye on the traffic gizmo. If something changes, I'll let you know about it. But for now, that's right now traffic on the point.
What would you do with unlimited internet? With Docomo Pacific, the possibilities are endless. Docomo Pacific is throwing off the data caps so you can enjoy more of the things you love. Watch, stream, download, and play with no end in sight. Stop by any of our stores or check out DocomoPacific.com to learn more. Life becomes limitless with Docomo Pacific. Better together.
The Ray Gibson Show, your new News Talk headquarters.
So what else you got going this weekend? Did everybody go on a boat ride? Still don't. I'm looking for an answer. From the geniuses on the Facebook Live. Somebody explained to me how is it that these Korean tourists come out to the sunshiny tropical destination that is Guam, USA, and then cover themselves from head to toe. It was a cute little baby, not necessarily a baby, 3 years old, 4 years old, just a toddler that they had covered up in quick dries that started at the bottom of her feet and went all the way up to her head, and then just a little bit of a round, little chubby Korean face peeking out from underneath this boonie hat. And she was so hot that she had this little handheld fan, right? And poor kid. And I'm thinking, she doesn't need the fan. Just take off maybe one layer of whatever it is that you've got her in, and you dress her up like the little brown kids on the beach. She'll be fine. It'll be. But maybe that's the idea. You don't want to get too dark while you're here, because maybe they'll be splotching us at the end. I don't know, 888-8255. When I refer to the geniuses on the Facebook Live, of course, I'm talking about Jennifer Bedard. Jeff Pleadwell is up. Baby sister Rebecca Kyler is online. Good morning, Greg. Nice to see you chiming in. Tommy Aguero says, "Hoy, the best talk is back." Oh, he must be talking about Kevin. Good morning, Sue Lee. Welcome to the broadcast. Ike Aseki and Eunice Mendiola. Sonia Limes Kelly. So nice to see that friendly face there. Andy Tydinko, Charlene Marchessault, Carl, and Jerry Gutierrez are back on. And what's cool is I believe that Carl has told all of his many followers and potential voters that they need to be tuning in on the Facebook Live every morning. Appreciate that, Uncle Carl. That's nice. Anna Kilroy, Ree Martinez. No, I'm saying that completely wrong. Rai Maries. I'm going to click on that and get a pronouncer. Tommy Barcinas, Juanita Gogui Cruz, Ken LG is up early this morning. Bob Lizama, Denise Mendiola. Hi, Tammy Godwin. Nice to see your name there. If you're off island, do me a favor. Say where you are so I can do a shout out to your town. Frankie Gutierrez, Brad Dunnigan. Haven't seen that name on the pile for a while, but it's good to have you there. Kelly Lizama, Juanita, James, and Brad are all up early this morning checking out the program to see what the big deals are going to be for me and stories that we're able to tell. First of all, I keep wanting to go back to the weekend because, it's a 3-day weekend, as I said, a lot of stuff going on. And, Mark Colby calling baseball games all weekend long. And we'll go over the scores that you sent up with Blake a little bit later on in the program. But, as I'm going around making my runs, I guess it was Sunday morning, I had been watching Mickey Leon Guerrero over the last, 2 or 3 weeks, touching up the memorial wall on Route 10, and it's a memorial wall that they put out there, and it's got the names of all of the soldiers that fell in Vietnam. And they went, put a new coat of paint on the thing, touched up all of the names, touched up the logos, all of that. So it was looking terrific. And then Sunday morning, I started passing by, and early, it was sunrise, when her now familiar vehicle pulled up to the memorial, and there was more work that was getting done. It wasn't just her. Other members of the family, people that I know, other members that I know their family, but I don't know them, were all of a sudden out there and did pretty quick work, if you will, of laying down flags in front of that memorial. So you had what was going on at Camp Assen, and I don't know if you had a chance to swing by there, but I did 2 or 3 times. Because I've got gas in my car, so I can drive that far down. Anyway, so I passed by 2 or 3 times, and there was always somebody's at the park, taking pictures and gathering up families, because it really is a spectacle what they do down there, and they put down a flag for every one of the guys that lost their lives in the liberation of Guam. They've been doing it for a long time. If it's still there, go and take a picture, because it's something that you're going to want to keep around, and take the little kids and explain to them what the purpose is of that. If we're very lucky, I might get a chance to talk with Mickey. Oh, in fact, there she is. Mickey LG, good morning.
Good morning, Ray. Nice to hear your voice.
It's great to hear your voice, and I don't want to take too much time and retell the story here too much. I just wanted to say thank you very much for the work that you and your family and friends do to maintain that monument, the memorial on Route 10.
Oh, it has been an honor, and it has been a pleasure. And I also want to thank you, because you have been with us since the beginning of our travels and on this journey since November 2014. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember the call, the Daughters of the Revolution.
Right, and so I think it was right after that, and we were so dismayed. We adopted the wall, and we've been moving ever since then to get to the point we were at right now. We've got a little bit more work still to be done, but we've been thrilled. It's been an honor. You would not believe the number of Vietnam vets and family members and communities members who have just stopped at the wall and walked and looked at it while we were doing the restoration.
And where do you find the time just to do? Because it looked like it was just you that was doing everything. I know that you had a couple of other hands to help out, but every time I'd pass by, I'd see you and you were doing a little bit of touching up here and painting the wall over there.
Well, I'm lucky. I'm in good health and I'm retired. So, two things: either our chapter members are all young and working, or on the older side. So I'm kind of blessed with that. So I would just go out in the morning and spend a couple of hours. By afternoon, the wall becomes very, very hot, and it's not a place you want to be. So I was just blessed that I was able to spend a couple of hours most days of the week, not every day, but it's taken a lot of time to get the wall where it's at, but it has been such an honor to restore it and to bring back the honor to the names that are listed on that wall.
Do you know, Mickey, any of the names? Do you know any of those guys?
I knew of one individual, and since I'm very much into doing family genealogy, and I've been working on Vince's side, discovered not only did we have the one name that we knew about, he has two other family members who's also on that wall. And so that's kind of made it even more important. But it was just the whole importance of the wall. It wasn't any one individual that drove this. It's the importance. These individuals gave their lives. They sacrificed it. And to have 70, well, there's 76 now, it's 77 Guam sons give their lives in, serving our country. That's a big thing. They need to be remembered. They need the honor.
It's very meaningful what you are doing out there for a lot of people, and even folks that may not recognize that they've got a connection to a war that took place a long time ago and relatively far away. So I wanted to say how much I appreciated the work that you and your crew put out there. And I noticed on Sunday morning it wasn't just you and your busy hands. You found some other hands to help you out, family and friends, and made quick work out of it. I thought the wall was perfect the way it was, and then you guys put down the flags, and I thought, what's next, fireworks?
Oh, no, there's an idea. And actually, those are all the members of the American Daughters of the American Revolution, the Guam chapter. Those are the ones who are all out there on Sunday morning. And we do the same thing for Veterans Day. We make sure that the flags are out for Veterans Day. So those are the two big days out of the year that we make sure flags fly at that wall.
Well,
you remember.
You let me know if there's anything that you need here, if you want to get a bigger crew or something like that, or drum up some publicity for the Daughters. You let me know. You know how to get a hold of me. I'm at 888-8255, and Vince finds me relatively quickly on Facebook. So I'm not the hardest guy on Guam to get a hold of.
And maybe we'll plan on those fireworks for next year.
Good idea. Good idea. I know a guy. Actually, there's some old A-Team demo guys just down the street over at the Vietnam veterans place down at the intersection. I'm sure a couple of those guys might be able to fix up some ad hoc fireworks for you.
Yeah, and the veterans, I go to their ceremony on Veterans Day when they call out every name, and that is just a most moving ceremony to attend, remembrance ceremony. That's when it also hits you.
There's a 5K, the Johnny Gerber 5K, I haven't been to one of them in a couple of years, but I remember on the inaugural one, they had Aisha Bakar, I think was her name. There's a Marine that was here with the Joint Guam Program Office, and she did a recording where she recited all of the names of the people that were killed in action during the liberation of Guam, and it's a lot of names, and we don't start the raffles until she's all done with that recitation. So
I remember that one.
Yeah. I'm waiting for Janet Gerber to call me up and say, let's go do some running and listen to those names be called out. I think Aisha got married, too. I saw her on Facebook with a different last name. Anyway, Mickey, nice getting caught up with you. And again, on behalf of folks that drive by that every day, thanks very much. It pretties up the place and a very meaningful tribute.
Thank you so much.
Okay. I'll talk to you pretty soon. What a sweet lady. Huh? I've got the time. I'm retired, and I want to do that kind of thing. That's sweet. 888-8255 is the telephone number, and there were obviously other things that went on over the weekend, but hopefully you found a way and a place where you could offer up some silent tribute in between some of the other observances. And did I see a barbecue going on over at the PD Cemetery when I passed by there? It's possible, Veterans Cemetery, and saw a bunch of guys in uniform underneath the tent, and there was smoke coming out of it. I wasn't close enough to be able to roll the window down and see if there was a smell associated with it. But if that's what you guys did, more power to you, more on you. I think that's a whole lot of fun. So the big stories, getting back to actual headlines and news here, is the idea that they have gotten the count of the receipts, and there is an additional $6 million that was collected from the increase, largely from, I suppose, the increase in the business privilege tax. Although it will be difficult to nail down one of the components that I think needs to be nailed down. And that is the fact that while these receipts were being gathered at the Department of Revenue and Taxation, while people were putting the numbers together and adding them all up in the spreadsheets, there were about $33 million worth of tax refunds that had been floating around as a result of the governor and Oyal and the fiscal team sending out $33 million worth of tax refunds. So we need another month without $33 million worth of tax refunds to see if that was if that $6 million is indicative of a major spend. Right?
Right. It'll vary, obviously, because it's a consumption tax.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll figure out what the difference is and figure out what percentage that is of $33 million, and then we'll know for sure that was one of the components. So before we get to a point where we're talking about this over at the legislature and say, see, it's working, it's $6 million, and we can annualize that figure, and this is what it's going to feel like to get out of this hole that Trump put us in. Before we do that, I think we're going to need to see a little bit of a term of numbers before we make the decision to go back.
That's certainly the argument that Adelup is making now.
Well, the argument that I'm making, because I think the argument over at the legislature is going to be it's an election year, and there's another set of numbers I want to throw at you. 85. Is that the number that you guys came up with over at the Post? 85 people are running for political office in this upcoming primary election. That's amazing. 65. I thought we were going to be done at about 57, 58, 58. 65 people have gone and picked up applications at the Guam Election Commission because they want to be senators. Because there's apparently there's this big hole, this defile that they're working over at the legislature with a bunch of people that aren't running.
85 people need jobs.
Are you sure that's the job that you want? And how many of these people? I haven't seen the most recent set of names, but every once in a while I'll take a look at the ones that I do have and go, yeah, this is going to be kind of exciting to make our way through this. Yes, I know it is known as Vietnam Veterans Highway. Right, Route 10 is just one of the other easy ways for people to remember where it is and mean no disrespect by not calling it Vietnam Veterans Highway. Thanks, Julie. And I like the pictures that you put together. In fact, I think Julie Paxton was one of those people at Camp Assen over the weekend that was actually sticking the flags inside the ground. So those are a couple of the big ones. We are still at loggerheads and disagreement in this community. Although it doesn't seem like there's a lot of people that are disagreeing amongst each other as much as they're disagreeing with the search guys over at the University of Guam. We ask you in the online poll at thepoint.gu, who should be the next president of the University of Guam? And so far, the winning answer is somebody from Guam or the region. 50% of the people that went to the poll say, yeah, it should be somebody from around these parts. The second place answer, and this is interesting, is the guy that failed our Google searches. That's how I identify him in the poll. Just the guy that failed our Google searches. Who won? As opposed, there's three guys that were turned in by this guy. These what is it? AGB search, right? Right. There's who number one, who number two, and the guy that failed the Google thing, right? Right. Okay. So who number one is at 12.5%, and who number two is at 0%, 25% for the guy that failed our Google searches. And oddly, and maybe we need to get. See, he doesn't have a machine like the guys over at Adaloop does. But Uncle Robert, president for life, has only garnered 12.5% of the vote so far.
Well, maybe they think he's tired.
Just needs a break.
Yeah.
Go travel around, spend all that retirement money that you got, Uncle Robert.
Maybe he could just take a year off and then come back.
And I think he's traveling now. I think that's why we were unable to get a hold of him, because he probably saw the stinking headlines that said, "I am leaving here until all of this blows over. I don't want to be around. I don't want to answer any questions. I don't want phone calls about what should I do and should I get involved? Should I recommend that they start over again?" And both of the newspapers over the last couple of days have made the same argument that we need to start this all over again. It's just too ugly, and it doesn't make any sense to anybody when you've got the actual charter that they're supposed to look at that says these are the things that we want: possession of a terminal degree from a recognized institution of learning, training and experience in research, teaching, or the administration of higher education or similar discipline. And the number one is requirements that the holder of the office must adequately satisfy are knowledge and understanding of the people of Guam and Micronesia. And you don't get that without ever having set foot in Guam and Micronesia. You can Google it all you want. I'm sure Mike did a whole lot of Googling before you got on the airplane and said, well, Guam is it, I guess.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I spent days at least.
But you know, did it match your expectations? You know, did you come away and go, hey, this is actually better than what I saw on Google?
Well, let's put it this way. I had already had the Hawaii and Philippine experience before I got here, so what I found here was okay.
Yeah.
You can't come here from the mainland and not experience culture shock to its max.
Yeah. We'll talk about that one of these mornings.
You know what I'm afraid? I'm afraid I'm going to experience a reversal of it if I ever go back.
The first time you go back someplace and you order a steak and they don't have finadeni, then it will blow your mind and you'll regret ever having gotten back on the airplane to come out to Guam. A couple other interesting things that are floating around here, and I didn't realize that there is this amount of conversation going on about it. But over the weekend, an article in the Daily Post where you guys were talking to Bart Jackson expressing concerns over asylum seekers.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
That is
Russians.
Kind of interesting because,
of course, his wife is Russian, and so she has contacts, and apparently there's been some.
I mean,
asylum seekers from Russia.
So is it possible? I will go and catch a tan on a beach every once in a while, and I don't hear as much of the language as I used to. But over the weekend, I did see a family, mom, dad, 2 kids, and you can almost always spot them because the swimming attire for men in Russia is completely. You want to talk about culture shock? Cover that up. I need you to cover that. It looks like you're smuggling golf balls. So please cover that up for me. And then they then. Okay, I'm not. I just want you to know. See, my hands are here. I'm not touching any sound effects. That was totally the producer. But so I can hear it. I can hear a little bit of the language. But now you got me wondering whether these people that I saw were they tourists, or is it possible that they're here for a little bit of a longer term stay? Is this someplace where they eventually want to end up? And if they did, would that be so bad? You know, what's the impact going to be? Certainly, nobody wants to go back to the snakehead days back in the 90s. When we had all those guys washing up on the shore like so many bags of cocaine.
Am I the only person that's worried that they might be spies?
Russian spies?
Well, hey, we got 2 military bases here. Are you kidding? We're not exactly on friendly terms with Russia these days, you know.
I did look. If they wanted to see some, I'm sure there's somebody open a door and let them in. I don't. You know, honestly, I don't know what kind of secrets we have. It's probably the most naive thing I'm going to say all day. I don't know what secrets we've still got around here that haven't been outed by previous administrations, one way or the other, or as I say, our own news and headlines. I think if there's stuff that the Russians really want to see or the Chinese really want to see, there's another way to do it other than coming out here and posing as asylum seekers. Just saying.
Yeah, but we have a missile defense system here that no one really knows about.
No, I know everything about it. Ask me. What do you want to know? No, it came in a Revell kit, a little Revell model maker's kit. Yeah, it's got all the specs. You know, you want to know what terminal high altitude, you know what the terminal high altitude is? I can't tell you. It's classified. I can tell you, but I got to kill you.
Flat gray.
6:55 in the morning. All right, we'll move from there. The other interesting thing is start talking about 85 people that have picked up packets and are running for office. Dennis Rodriguez, obviously running for office. Did everybody get the Dennis Rodriguez opus over the weekend? I didn't realize I was on his mailing list. And keep me on the list. I don't have a problem with being on the list. It's just the nature of the email that he had sent out. Dear Guam, your time is now. Adelup is no one's inheritance. And I won't read the whole thing because, you know, the show's only 4 hours long. Right. But every now and then I'll come across this criticism. Senator, aren't you too young to run for governor? It's not your time. I've reflected on this and spent a considerable amount of time talking it over with people who've been in politics for a while. And you know, you read these things on the phone, and it just goes and goes. And look at how many times I'm swiping here. This is longer than a Troy Torres thing. Right? But it goes on and talks about age or stripes or December 2010 when I was really the new guy, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, so it's interesting, but just a note of advice to you, Dan, from just mean this in the friendliest way possible, is TLDR. Always remember, TLDR. Yeah. I'm going to respond back this TLDR. Too long, didn't read.
Yeah.
So you need to shorten it up. Maybe just some bullet points on what it is that you're trying to say there. But anyway, so there's another brewing concern. And we'll see if we can get Klitsky on the line to talk about this at some point. He is of the opinion that Dennis's running mate, David Cruz, is not eligible to run.
That contract swap.
Yeah.
Happened, yeah.
So he went from being a classified employee to an unclassified employee, right?
Interesting question.
And didn't lose any benefits, didn't lose any salary. And
the governor signed it.
Governor signed off on that because, you know, Dennis didn't vote his way on the tax bill or something like that. But now I guess the question is, was it legal for him to take that position as a, quote, professional? Because that the position as, what is it, the drill instructor in the ROTC or ROTC instructor is not classified as a professional position.
Well, maybe by December we'll get a ruling on that.
Apparently, the Attorney General's office has been through it and said, no, that's all right. We can live with this the way it is. But because Klitsky is looking at it, it gives a little bit more gravity to the case for me. There is also another question that he has been asking because, you know, he knows how this journalism thing works. And he, like me, kind of annoyed that we still, a month later, don't know what happened, what was discussed in the executive session of the Guam Election Commission. They got in the middle of a topic over there and decided that, you know, we got to talk about this in executive session where there is the cone of silence and confidentiality falls all over the thing, and we don't get to know what it is. So he's sent out a FOIA to see if there's any information that can be gleaned from the Election Commission to give us a sense of exactly what it was that they were talking about there. Did it have to do with campaign spending? Does it have to do with J.D. Tuncap and a conversation that she allegedly had with Tom Taji that went all the way to Dennis Rodriguez? Did it have anything to do with Dave Cruz and his ability or his eligibility to run as a professional unclassified member of Dennis Rodriguez's camp. Interesting stuff to play around with. As I said, go to the poll site, thepoint.gu, and answer the question, who should be the next president of the University of Guam? Music's playing in the background. That means I got to wrap up this hour here. Coming up, Fox News Live. Other side of that, Kevin Kerrigan and headlines from the Guam Daily Post Tuesday morning in the Ray Gibson Show right here on KUSG Agana.
Live from New York, the Fox Report.
I'm Lisa Brady. What Memorial Day is all about.
To honor the lives and deeds of America's greatest heroes, the men and women who laid down their lives for our freedom.
President Trump leading the annual ceremony in Arlington National Cemetery and telling military families the sacrifices of the fallen will never be forgotten. Army veteran Hal Kushner was part of the service at the Vietnam Wall.
And I've looked with wonder and gratitude at the etched names shining in the black granite, and I've placed my hands on it, and I have felt its electric coolness. And I realized the miracle that my name is not on it.
He survived a helicopter crash and years in a POW camp, honoring today the many held captive with him who did not survive. A day of damage assessments and cleanup in Ellicott City, Maryland, devastated by flash flooding for the second time in 2 years.
Officials say they had 300 water rescues last evening. The governor of Maryland has declared an emergency here. He had just announced a couple of weeks ago that they had secured here $1 million of funding from the federal government to help them repair from the last flood. And a number of business owners are telling us they had just finished repair work, put the finishing touches on opening their business again, and then this happened. Fox's Rich Edson. The search continues for a National Guardsman and Air Force veteran who was trying to help a woman rescue her cat when he was swept away yesterday. The center of subtropical storm Alberto making landfall around Laguna Beach, Florida, with flash flooding and heavy rain around parts of the Florida Panhandle, Mississippi, and Alabama. Also, with states of emergency in effect, some areas could get up to a foot of rain. The storm surge also a concern. This is the Fox Report, fair and balanced.
In this divided world, there are still a few things that unite us. The thrill of an exciting championship game.
Fires to the end zone. Touchdown!
The sound of great music.
The Grammy goes to...
And the love we have for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam presents to you For the Love of Burgers menu. For a limited time, we want you to put down that fork, tuck that napkin in your collar, and go for broke with an amazing burger for just $11.99. 8 burgers to try, and time isn't wasting. Ruby Tuesday Guam lunchtime. See you soon.
For more than 40 years, we've managed our island's most precious resource, your health. Take Care's benefit plans allow members access to more than 120 medical providers, 40 dental providers, and 18 pharmacies in the region. Take Care's health plans ensure members in Palau, Saipan, and Guam receive the care they deserve. Our programs and wellness classes have proven results for our valued members, and our commitment to your health never been stronger. Take Care, our island, your health plan.
On the Ad Council.
A U.S. delegation is in North Korea preparing for a possible summit between President Trump and North Korea's leader, who met for a second time Saturday with the South Korean leader.
They are happening along the DMZ on the north side of the border into North Korean territory, exactly, where this surprise summit took place over the weekend between North Korean leader Kim and South Korean President Moon Jae-in. The U.S. team is really trying to figure out whether Pyongyang is really willing to denuclearize.
Fox's Greg Palcott in Seoul. President Trump and Japan's prime minister in a phone call today confirming they plan to meet again before the possible summit. The final shot at the NBA championship will be decided tonight in Houston.
With LeBron James and the Cavaliers waiting on the winner, the Warriors take on the Rockets tonight in Game 7 of the NBA's Western Conference Finals. Warriors forward Kevin Durant says the defending champs are prepared to play for a trip to the finals.
I know for us, we're going to come out there and be ready to play from the start of the game. We put ourselves in a position now to have one more game to try to get to the finals, get back to where we want to get to. And I think guys are ready for us.
Rockets point guard Chris Paul will be a game-time decision because of a right hamstring injury. Peter Schwartz, Fox News.
Hockey's Stanley Cup Finals start tonight between the Washington Capitals, who've been trying for 44 years, and the Vegas Golden Knights, an expansion team in their first season. They're hosting Game 1. A possible case of Star Wars fatigue at the box office.
I'm a driver, and I'm a flyer. I waited a long time for a shot like this.
The Han Solo spinoff not doing quite as well as Disney had hoped. Still more than $100 million in North American theaters for its opening weekend, counted as 4 days for the holiday. In New York, I'm Lisa Brady on Fox News Radio.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a Day. I'm Mark Beneventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumamo. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,500 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 475-4545, Upper Tuon 647-5626, or in Dedito 633-4473. Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Don't wait another day and waste another dollar. You can start saving today. At Guahan Insurance Services, we are here to help protect your investment and save you money. We offer insurance advising for business, car, and home insurance. So come and visit us at our new office at Camacho Landmark Center at Marine Corps Drive in Timoning, and let us show you that you can count on us for all your insurance needs. Call 475-1162.
Smoky Mountain Bar.
Howdy, folks. Can't get enough of my KFC Smoky Mountain Barbecue? I'm bringing more to Guam this month with my new KFC Smoky Mountain Grilled Barbecue Chicken. KFC's chicken coated with a sweet and smoky barbecue sauce. Oh, and by the way, Smoky Mountain Barbecue is still available on KFC's Extra Crispy Chicken and boneless strips. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Manila, Osaka, Fukuoka.
Dreaming about your next vacation? With the FHB United Mileage Plus credit card, you can get 10% off on United Airlines flights from Guam to Manila, Osaka, or Fukuoka when you book your ticket by May 31. Book your flight on United.com at a United City ticket office or your local travel agency using promo code FHB18M. Visit FHB.com/United Fair Sale 18 for more details. Terms and conditions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 7 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan, and here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Members of Guam's motorcycle community created a makeshift memorial for one of their own yesterday afternoon, a day after Andrew J. Damian was killed when his bike crashed on Route 2 in Agate and landed in a ditch. Ladies of Harley officer Kelly Rodriguez said Damian was a member of the Harley of Guam and the Chetluship Familia motorcycle clubs. He was 33 years old, she said. Damian was on a ride Sunday with about 20 other motorcyclists from various clubs when the crash occurred, said Rodriguez. The crash happened around 3 in the afternoon near Chalan Lanchero in Agate. Damian was rushed to Naval Hospital where he was pronounced dead at 3:37 p.m. His death marks the 8th traffic fatality on Guam's roads this year. Governor Calvo has agreed to extend the tax amnesty application period for another 3 weeks through June 19th. It was supposed to end today. The extension applies to the application period only. The deadline for full payment of past due taxes remains August 6th. Reverend Tax Director John Camacho telling the Post that he recommended the extension after receiving numerous requests from delinquent taxpayers who said they needed more time to secure financing from a bank to pay off what they owe. The tax amnesty application period began on May 7th. Camacho said as of last Wednesday, about 210 people had submitted applications and made deposits totaling roughly $1.2 million in both 10% down payments as well as full payments of past due taxes. We'll have more news after this.
Ready to buy real estate on Guam? Congratulations! But what now? There are so many questions, so many things to do. Where do you start? The best place to start is to call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty, Guam's biggest name in real estate. They aren't the best because they're the biggest. They're the biggest because they're the best. Trust the name. Find out why. Call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty today. 888-2121. Trust the best.
As we journey through the new year, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you.
10 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. The Airport Authority has issued a warning to taxi drivers not to solicit services beyond the curbside area where they're currently allowed to park at the airport. Taxi Association attorney Gary Gumatautau has sent a cease and desist letter to the airport in response. Gumatautau arguing that the airport has wrongfully tried to restrain the drivers by applying a vague and ambiguous rule. The rule requires taxi operators to restrict fare solicitations to the curbside area outside the passenger terminal. Airport spokeswoman Rolinda Fasuamalie says Gumatautau's letter is under review by the airport's legal counsel. A throng of active military personnel, veterans, and laypeople packed Guam's Veterans Cemetery in Pidi yesterday for the annual Memorial Day services. Senator Josan Augustine opened the ceremony yesterday, reminding those in attendance that Memorial Day is not just a holiday, but a day to reconnect with our history by honoring and remembering those who gave their lives for the ideals we cherish, he said. Guam and the rest of Micronesia have lost about 40 sons and daughters in Iraq and Afghanistan since 2003, said Guam National Guard Brigadier General Johnny Lizama. He spoke about Guam's high enlistment rate and the more than 9,000 veterans who currently live on island today. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray with some weather.
Says here, partly cloudy skies, Kevin, with isolated showers, east winds up to about 20 miles an hour. And here's the warning. It's gonna be hot today. Highs near 90. Max heat index, it'll feel like it's 103 degrees. Serious. Lows around 79 degrees. Crank up the aircon if you can. And just a note, if you've got some elderly folks, check in on them. Little kids and the old folks don't do well when the temps get to be up this high. So if you got a neighbor, look in on him, make sure everything is all right. Bring him some cold. Old people like cold beer, right?
Oh, I think everyone likes cold beer. By the way, also, if you work outside, we got some working folks listening. Make sure you hydrate.
It's important. Sunset tonight, 6:43. Sunrise tomorrow morning should be about 5:52. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
You're going to want to eat at some point today, and may I recommend for you the food that they have lined up over at King's. They've got a different local favorite every day of the week. Yesterday is Salisbury steak. Today is beefsteak. Tomorrow, and tomorrow, pork sinigang. Now, you can choose. They've got these combos. They're pick 2 or pick 3. I'm not 1,000% sure how that works. So go have lunch at King's and then try it out, the pick 2 or pick 3, and then call me tomorrow and let me know how that works. It's lunchtime waiting for you at King's.
Are you a homeowner looking to save money on your power bill? Ever thought about getting solar on your roof? If the answer is yes, Micronesia Renewable Energy will install a solar energy system on your roof for zero money down, so you can save money on your power bill. Sign up in the month of May, and MRE will pay you $400 in cash. That's right. In the month of May, get a solar energy system on your roof, and MRE will pay you $400 $5 just for signing up. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
My friends over at First Hawaiian Bank bring you portions of the program. FHB, First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes.
Stop by any Circle K today and overload your For Real. It's simple. Pick out your favorite For Real shake, blend it, and then mix and match any 2 toppings for only $1. Overload your For Real with a variety of sweet treats like Oreo cookies, gummy bears, classic M&Ms or peanut M&Ms, and Reese's peanut butter cups. Simply add them to your For Real shake for an overload experience and enjoy. For Real Overload, only available at participating Circle Ks. Circle K, take it easy.
The Ray Gibson Show. News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out.
Yeah, and every once in a while we'll take a look at traffics and the traffic gizmo and see if there's anything for you to worry about. It looks like we've got a little bit of slowdown on your way into Anderson Air Force Base. If you're up in the Jigo area, around the Dededo Sports Complex, looks like things are slowing down as well. And they just did a commercial there for Circle K, 76 Circle K, the Ocean Vista, directly across the way from where the inspirational sign is. They've got that turn. You know, you can go down the underpass, but if you just want to turn to Bello or take a different way to Route 16 or turn into 10 Alpha, it looks like things are slowing down there as well. I don't know why. Maybe just folks trying to get to work early. 7:15 in the morning, and time for us to take a look at what's happened in the market. Now, the numbers that we got here are going to be stale because it's from there Friday, our Saturday, and there's no market today because of the holiday. So when the Dow Jones Industrial opens again, they will be opening in the red, 24,753. The NASDAQ at 7433. That's unchanged. And the S&P 500 at 2721. They're off by about 6 points. The foreign markets are all looking pretty decent. The FTSE is up by 13 points. Nikkei banging at 22,481. And the Hang Seng at 30,792. Not bad numbers that you've got there. And a little bit more encouraging numbers on West Texas. You remember when last week West Texas crude was trading at around $70 a barrel, right? And we had concerns, and the guys over at the Guam Power Authority were looking at it going, whoo-hoo, $71.84 for West Texas crude. We might need to line ourselves up for another one of these rate increases, even though it's not necessarily time for another LEAC. We might have to do an emergency based on the way the numbers are going. However, the numbers are moving backwards. West Texas crude now trading at $66.47, and that's good news. So it's down significantly from where it was the last time I looked at it. Tapas is also trading under $80 a barrel, and that's good news for us as well. It's still $79 and change. I know, but it's not 80. So, in my mind, I've got this, I don't know, it's one of these milestones. I'm going 80. I don't want to see it go up any higher than that. We've obviously seen numbers of crude oil, West Texas and Tapas that have been well over $100. I don't know that it's heading up in that direction anytime very soon. I'll keep an eye on it and let you know. But good news on the West Texas front, good news on the Tapas front as well. And as I said earlier, we're all very concerned. I never thought I'd actually utter the words in 40 years, man and boy of being in radio, to talk about the spam recall. But it's there and it's real. If you've got any spam in the pantry, it's best to check their expiration date. The USDA is recalling spam products because of metal fragments that were found inside of them. For spam, look for the best buy date of February 2021 and production codes F020881 through 889. For Hormel Foods Black Label Luncheon Loaf, which I've never heard of. Have you ever eaten that? Never eaten it. You've seen it? Do they have it? Okay. Anyway, look for best buy dates of February 2021 and production codes of FO2098, FO2108. Both brands will also have an establishment code of Establish 199N at the bottom of the can. So take a look for all of that. If you need more numbers, like I said, it should be on the USDA website. This is sad. This is sad. Can you imagine? But if you have to take it back, if you have to throw it out, I don't want to throw out spam. I
have never met anyone in life that ever took a can of spam back to the store.
No.
It's never happened in my lifetime.
I'd go through it and look for the metal. All right. I'll just chew slow. That's what I'll do. And Years ago, I remember years ago, I dropped this back when the mayonnaise jars were made of glass, and I dropped the jar of mayonnaise, and I swore that I would be able to clean it up without getting any of the glass in the mayonnaise, and then put it back in another container in the refrigerator. And my grandfather just looked at me. No, it's okay. We'll buy. But I just wanted just a spoonful for my tuna. Can I just a spoon? No, there's probably glass in it. All right. So there is the sadness there. A couple of points that I want to make with you. Number one, Jerry Roberts has graduated, and what started as just a feature here on the morning show on The Point, the Ray Gibson Show on The Point, has now turned into a regular gig that he's got with the Guam Daily Post. So I want you to, if you like what you're hearing this morning and you want even more of it, Jerry Roberts has got a column in the editorial section of the Daily Post I want you to take a look at. It's actually very interesting because it has to do with the recent update of the controversy of NFL players that are kneeling for the anthem and what the NFL has decided to do. And Jerry's got an interesting take on that. As I said, that's in print. Here is the radio version of the Extra Point with Jerry Roberts.
Today, the 3 best ways to grow and advance your career. I'm Jerry Roberts, and we're going to give those to you, but I'm not sure you're going to want to hear it. That's next on the Extra Point. Let me be clear. What I'm about to say will help separate you from the pack, and it works regardless of your industry. If you make improvements in these 3 things, even small improvements, it can bring about significant growth. Here we go. Number 1, read more. Did I hear an ugh? Read more. The book industry has research to show that only 10% of people who buy books ever get past the first chapter. Wow. If you do, you may consider yourself to be an elite reader. Perhaps you've heard me repeat a quote from the late Charlie Tremendous Jones, a leader in the personal growth field. He said, "You'll be the same person in 5 years as you are today, except for the people you meet and the books you read." Okay, tell me the title of the last book you read from cover to cover that had something to do with your job, your career, your industry, growing a skill, etc. Do you have it? Now, tell me how long ago you read it. In the last month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10? Read more. It's the first of the best 3 ways to grow for a reason. On to the second item. Write more. Writing is important. You can keep track of your progress. Where were you a year ago? And where are you now? What problems and challenges have you faced in your work and other aspects of life? And what solutions did you come up with? This is the process of documenting your work and life experience. Writing is the doing part of thinking. Writing can lead to new understanding, which can eventually result in new solutions. You can do all of this and more in 5 to 10 minutes a day. Finally, number 3, speak more. Do I mean speaking in front of other people? Yeah, that's what I mean. And if you gulped, I get it. Most people fear public speaking. That said, having the ability to get up in front of a group, sharing ideas, and possibly influencing others, motivating them to take action, is considered by many to be a superpower. It can be life-changing. You can get over the fear by starting with a topic you know well and presenting it in a staff meeting, maybe later to a civic group. The fear will soon be replaced with confidence. You want to do all of these, but you don't have to jump in with both feet. You can start small. Read 1 book every 6 months. Write for a few minutes once a week. Speak in front of one group, realize you survived it, then do another one. When you feel good about all this, increase your limits. I think you'll be very happy with the results. And one more thing. Download a copy of the transcript for today, number 80, and give it to your kids. That's the Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3, I'm Jerry Roberts.
Yeah, I'm unaccustomed to public speaking. And it still scares me. There are still moments before I get on the stage to MC something or keep a program going, and it doesn't matter how much prep I've got into it, or how well I might know the crowd that I'm in front of. Right. I still get that second when the hands go a little bit clammy. But then somebody will put a microphone in it, and it goes away. That is my superpower. But honest to goodness, it still rankles me just a hair before it all gets started. 7:23 in the morning. That's the extra point with Jerry Roberts. And I'll repeat the sentiment is if you liked what you heard and you want to share it, go and download a copy at GuamTraining.com.
With the largest inventory of rental equipment on Guam, East West Rental Center is sure to have the tool you need to get your job finished quickly. From equipment rental, party rental, parts and service to used equipment, East West Rental Center has what you need. Call East West Rental Center at 646-1463 or visit them online and browse through their online rental catalog at eastwestrental.com. They're located in Upper Tumon, right across St. John's School. East West Rental Center, providing the island of Guam with quality equipment rentals since 1972.
At 7:24, another look at traffic here. The traffic gizmo says there is still a line of traffic moving towards Anderson Air Force Base, slowing things down. Traffic building on Route 9 if you're coming out from the opposite direction and headed southbound. Let me see if I take a look at some of these other hot spots here. Coming out of Agana, moving up to Agana Heights towards Navy Hospital. You're going to see a few more cars there, and also into Navy Base down at Sumai, right before you get to the sign that says tourists. Yes, and the arrow that says to go this way is agate. Don't come up the hill towards the base. We're just going to have to turn you around. And that's what traffic looks like at 7:25 on the point.
So you want to buy a house, but you don't know how much you could borrow. So what do? Well, you come to Bank Pacific and get pre-qualified. Sit down with one of our home loan specialists and let us see how much we can lend you so you know how much you can spend on your new home. Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, conditions apply. Come pre-qualified today.
Hey, you looking for a job? You looking for something to do? 85 people have picked up packets to run for one kind of political office or another in this town, and Kevin says, yeah, they just want the job. That's the whole thing. The title looks good. They give you a little desk at the legislature.
And a lot of money.
Like at school. And they give you a thing with your name on it in the front. And there's they got a slave at the legislature. His job is to make sure that your water glass is never empty. Have you noticed that? You watch the proceedings? That's his job. He's the butler.
There are actually people who filed those papers that think they don't have to do anything when they get their job. But they are. Yeah, seriously.
And I would be one of them. If nominated, I will not run. If elected, I will not serve. Is the line. So what have I got here? There was a couple. If you're looking for a job, they might still be entertaining applications at the HR office of Pacific Islands Club. They are looking for club mates, and I'm of the opinion that 1, 2, 3 of us, because the show ends at 10 o'clock. We've got the rest of the day to ourselves.
Not me.
Well, okay, not you, but me and Mike. We go over there.
Good luck.
And
have fun.
Get that little PIC tank top.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah, I think they're still hiring.
You're going to follow through with the what is it?
Seriously toying with it.
Yeah.
Seriously toying. Now, there is another job opening that I ran across this morning that I wanted to share with you. Bank Pacific, where others put branches, they place roots.
Yeah.
They're looking for a residential mortgage loan specialist.
Does that mean you have to live at the bank?
No.
Okay, I see. A mortgage specialist for homes.
For residential
My bad.
mortgages, yeah. They were seeking a dynamic, team-oriented individual with high ethical standing. Well, I'm out there.
I kind of like the idea of living at the bank.
The self-starter who has excellent written organization and interpersonal skills.
Oh,
this is disqualifying us at just a feverish
when
pace.
When it rains, it pours.
Every word here says no, Mike, no, Ray. Is a high sales and goal-driven position candidate should have at least 4 years of progressive residential lending experience to include underwriting VA, USDA, and Freddie Mac loans. Okay, don't have that either. What do we got here? It's a proficient with Microsoft Office and other business-related computer software. A bachelor's degree in business or finance is preferred. So, hey, Phil, I'm good at WhatsApp. Is that could that be the dream gig for me?
I was going to say, yeah, I got smartphone skills.
I'm just saying, if you're looking for a job, it's good. I mean, it's the bank, for heaven's sakes. Look at the benefits: 401k, paid vacation, sales incentive program, medical and dental, sick and holiday, an employee home and personal loan program.
Wow.
Ding, ding,
Wow.
ding, ding, ding.
Hey.
What?
Just
See,
dollar
you're going to
signs
loan me a thing there, Phil? This is getting better every minute. My name is Ray. My friend Ken's on the line. Good morning, Ken.
Wow, I don't know how to follow that.
I'm sorry.
Really? Anyway, earlier you were talking about Russian tourists. I had a story I thought I'd share with you. Back in March, I was at that hamburger place near you. Dos Amantes?
Oh, no, it's Mezcla Dos.
Yeah, Mezcla. Yeah, Mezcla Dos. And you know how you end up sharing tables a lot there?
Yes.
A family came up and asked if they could share my table, and I said, sure. Turns out they were Russian. And so as we're talking, I had learned that they spent 3 weeks in Los Angeles in Southern California, 3 weeks in Hawaii, 3 weeks in Guam. Their impressions of California was it was dangerous. They never felt safe, not even in Disneyland. Their impressions of Hawaii, it was too crowded, too expensive, and the people were very rude.
Did they bring up traffic? Traffic's a big problem in Hawaii.
That too. They brought that up too. But they said they wish they had spent the entire 9 weeks here on Guam.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so they were sharing with me their experiences here on Guam, how friendly the people were, and everybody was willing to help them no matter what. When they had questions, people didn't avoid them or just stare them off. And, you know, it was so friendly, and the beaches were so quiet and not crowded, and they just wish they'd spent the entire 9 weeks here on Guam, which I think says a lot for our tourism industry.
Oh, that gets me right in the feels. You know, can I and let me underscore a point here that is I think vital to the future of the hospitality industry here on Guam. This did not take place in a six-star hotel. It did not take place in the shiny chrome and glass and marble lobbies and I'm not saying that they're bad places. I'm just saying the point that I want to make is this took place at a little mom and pop burger stand down the street. Not high tech, but high touch. You know,
absolutely.
And I think because that's
we're enjoying their food.
Oh, well, they make good burgers there. They make it. You can't. There's certain times of the day you can't get in there because there's so many people just line up around a building to go and get a Mezcla Dos burger. I'm absolutely a fan of the place. But like I said, for me, hospitality is the high touch opportunity that you've got with every single one. And I'm trying to remember the last time I was running as usual, and I was running over by the Paseo. It was a Wednesday afternoon, and the place was starting to busy up, and there was a pair of tourists. And they were taking shots of each other individually in front of that Ray Tenorio's little Guam thing, the Guam seal. And so I stopped running and said, let me have your phone. I'll take the picture of both of you. And they couldn't stop thanking me. Because they otherwise they had no mechanism to have a picture of the two of them taken against this icon. And it took 30 seconds for me to execute, and so people of Guam always look for those opportunities, and anymore you might want to learn how to say Kmart is over there in Korean, or Micronesia Mall is over there in Korean, because I see a lot of these guys getting lost in their cars, despite the fact that they must have some really good GPS systems in their autos.
I'm sure they do, but the fact that we have people comparing Guam that favorably, and these people had money, obviously. I mean, you don't spend 9 weeks on vacation in places like Anaheim and Southern California and Hawaii, because as you know, those are not cheap destinations. And for them to compare Guam as favorably as they did against Hawaii and Anaheim, I was very pleased to hear that.
Well, I'm pleased that you're reporting it, and hope that they get a chance to come back. But like anything else, if they had a great experience on Guam, I hope they told more than just you.
I'm sure they're telling a lot of people back in Russia about this experience they had, because the whole time that they were here, They had 2 small children who were running around loose inside the restaurant, intermingling with Chinese children, Korean children, and local children. I mean, it was just an international play day there. You know, kids going around to different tables, introducing their new friends. You know, it was just a very, very, it kind of reminded me of Hawaii in the old days, you know, when back in the 70s when I first moved over there.
It kind of reminds me of growing up here. I didn't realize that people were different colors and shades almost all of my life. It was normal to me growing up. 7:34, Ken, I'm going to run. I'll talk to you pretty soon. Okay, and then he's gone. And now it's time for me to say it's 7:34 and time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Daily Post this morning, the total is in for the additional revenue collected in April by the increased business privilege tax. Governor's office announcing yesterday that about $6 million more was collected in April over the same month last year. That amounts to a total of $22 million for the month compared to $16 million in April of 2017. Revenue Tax Director John Camacho saying if collections continue at this pace for the rest of the fiscal year, we should be okay, meaning there should be enough revenue to cover the $67 million shortfall GovGuam is now facing. The governor yesterday warning that it's too soon to make any changes in the new tax law. He acknowledged that there's been some discussion about revising or repealing it, but he said without addressing the anticipated $100 million shortfall for next year or responding to the needs of GMH or Guam DOE, eliminating the tax now would be irresponsible, he said. National Weather Service meteorologist Brandon Eidlet says he thinks it's highly unlikely that any of the cocaine packages that spilled from a freighter that sunk off the Philippines in January ever made it here to Guam. A total of 39 pounds of cocaine has been seized by authorities since March, all of which reportedly washed ashore. The source of it still unknown. However, Taiwan and Philippine media have reported back in January the sinking of a Taiwanese-flagged ship off the island of Samar and packages of cocaine washing ashore there in the Philippines. But Eidlet said the general flow of currents in the northern Pacific Ocean is clockwise and the trade winds have been easterly throughout this year, so it would be highly unlikely that any of that cocaine ever made its way here to Guam, he said. Hormel Foods is voluntarily recalling more than 228,000 pounds of canned pork and chicken products that may be contaminated with pieces of metal. Some of the products were shipped here to Guam. The suspect chicken and pork was canned back on February 8th, 9th, and 10th of this year. If you bought Hormel chicken or pork products, check the bottom of the can. If you see EST 199N on the bottom of the can, bring it back to the store for a refund. Officials say there have been 4 reports of minor oral injuries stateside from consumers who ate the contaminated product. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
I will. 7:37, that's iConnect time. Connect longer for less with iConnect's push-to-talk and mobile plans.
Hey, it's your stomach again. Subway has all new signature wraps, and around the water cooler, the other stomachs can't stop talking about them. Chipotle Southwest steak and cheese, turkey, bacon, and guac, rotisserie-style chicken Caesar signature wraps. Listen, if I'm honest, as a talking stomach, I don't have a lot of life experience, but I do know one thing. These signature wraps are jam-packed with meat. So what are you waiting for? I'm growling over here. Subway, make it what you want.
7:37, portions of the program brought to you by American President Lines. APL is shipping the future.
On EPOW Road in Twining is now an employee-owned company. It's called an ESOP, or ESOP, which stands for Employee Stock Ownership Plan. Collectively, the employees now own Morico equipment. Morico made this change in response to the U.S. military buildup on Guam to retain key employees and to recruit new ones. There's now strong motivation for employees as owners to take responsibility for their role in the company. If you're interested in talking to Morico about future employment prospects, please apply through their webpage, moricoequipment.com.
That's that traffic noise, and it looks like things are beginning to calm down a little bit on the way into Anderson Air Force Base. A little bit of traffic building in the way into the roadway that takes you into Big Navy down in Sumai. And a note on that from my buddy Daryl Taggart, he's watching on the Facebook Live, says, with all the highway and tourism funding, why not the military? We, not the military, should put up better U.S. standard road signs for tourists, such as before the Big Navy main gate. Yeah, I suppose, but I guess there's just so many of these people that are trying to get down to, I don't know, down into the Agate area, Mango Festival, all of that the guys over at Anderson, or I'm sorry, at Sumai, were having a hard time deflecting all of that additional tourist traffic into the thing. Personally, I think the problem with the sign isn't that they put up the sign. I think the problem with the sign was it said tourist in English as opposed to tourist in Korean or Japanese for the drivers down there. Anyway, 20 away from the top of the hour. Not a whole lot to report on the traffic, so let me just finish up with this. If you're coming out of Route 3, Guam Regional Medical City, still some construction that's taking place and still a little bit of traffic snagging up through there. But once you're past the intersection, should be just fine.
Say hello to high-speed data on the widest 4G LTE network in the Marianas. We've just upped your prepaid data, so make your big plans bigger with 1 gigabyte of data per day. Bigger prepaid data for your big plans that just keep getting better. Enjoy high-speed data and unlimited local talk and text on the widest 4G LTE network in the Marianas. Text LTE to 3282, select a plan, and enjoy 1 gigabyte of data per day. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
Thazius Mendiola says, so glad my family and I gave up Spam years ago. We only used the Tulip brand. Okay, I got you. Trying to think if I've got any of that in the cupboard at the house. I don't believe that I do. Hey, but, you know, different strokes for different folks. There's a number of other products that I personally like. And when I tell people I personally like it, they shoot me this look like, what's the matter with you? And I'll give you an example. Is they have a thing at the grocery store, and they're not expensive. It was 49 cents or something like that for a little can, just a little tiny nothing can of potted meat food product.
Is that like Underwood?
I don't know who makes it. No, Hormel I think makes it. Just potted meat food product is what it's. What I think it is, it's the inside of hot dogs. There's just no skin on it.
Pretty much.
And you take this and you put it on Navy biscuits. Mm-hmm. You know what the Navy biscuit is? Yes. You've seen them in the store, one in the white plastic bag. Yeah. You can survive nuclear holocaust with enough of that stuff, and it just absolutely lasts forever. So potted meat food product on top of Navy ship biscuits. And, normally it has to be the aftermath of a typhoon to really get into that and enjoy it. But I like it just any old day. I think it's good. The other thing, I also like Vienna sausage.
Okay.
I love eating Vienna sausages, and I'll open a can of Vienna sausage and sprinkle some Tabasco on it. Oh, yeah. And just like I'm the happiest guy you know. I am the happiest. Yes, make the noise. Let's hear it. So I get it that there are some people that go, ew, Spam, ew, potted meat food products. And you know what? I'm not putting it in your mouth. It's going into my mouth, and I like it, and that's all there is to it. And if you like something else that I don't like, it's okay. We can agree to disagree on things like liver. And that's all I'm going to say. See, Joe Cruz. Joe says potted meat is awesome. Marvic Soto, good morning. Ruben Morteris says Spam rules.
Is that the real Joe Cruz?
That is the real Joe Cruz. That is of all of them, I think that is the realest one that's out there. on the subject that Ken called in a second ago, Hawaii. Rico Blancafor says, "Yep. I hear a lot of businesses in Hawaii need a customer service retraining. You know what?" I think it's too late for that, unfortunately. The last time I was in Hawaii, Oahu in particular, and the closer you got to the tourist district, the worse it got. There just seemed to be no more aloha.
Yeah, it's better on the Big Island, but it's changing there too. And Maui's Oahu Junior.
Yeah, so we've got a real opportunity here to I don't know, recast, reimagine our hospitality practices. And a note from Daryl with all of the highway and tourism funding. that we receive. You know, I hear you. In fact, interesting enough, you bring that up today. GVB goes before the 2019 budget hearings, and so I hope Nate and his team from the Guam Visitors Bureau are able to convince them. It's not so much getting money from the government as much as letting GVB keep those dollars for some of the plans that they've got. I got to get to this guy on the phone. Hey, is this Bob Klitsky?
Hello.
Senator, how you doing?
I'm at the tail end of an industrial grade of the flu, Ray, but I'm thriving.
Oh. What do you? It's Memorial Day weekend, Tuesday. What do you been sick?
Yeah, I haven't left. Haven't been anywhere since a week ago Sunday.
Okay.
In fact, I even had to miss a couple of episodes of the Ray Gibson Show.
We keep them online. All 4 hours every day is posted at YouTube, and you can start from the beginning, and it's got a little thing so you can fast forward. Right through. If I'm boring, you can fast forward to the the next thing.
You miss a little, you miss a lot, right?
Amen to that. Amen to that. Well, I'm glad that you're feeling better, and I'm sure that's a load off of Auntie Lou's mind, so she didn't have to worry about her old Marine so much. But there's a couple of interesting stories that have got you all over them, and I kind of wanted to touch base with you and see what your level of satisfaction is with the conversation at the Attorney General's office on the capabilities, the eligibility of Dave Cruz to run as a lieutenant governor candidate.
Well, let's just separate things out a little bit. First of all, in order to run for office, all a person need do is meet the Organic Act requirements: age, citizenship, no crimes, 5 years a resident, and we cannot have any effect on that.
Right, it's in the act.
The question in Dave's case is, can he run for office and hang on to his $125,000 a year government of Guam job? And my answer is no. If he wants to run for office, he needs to resign from his $125,000 a year job.
But let's take a step through this and get to a point where, in your mind, the position that he holds would require him to quit the job or quit running for office. He was originally a classified employee in the Department of Education, correct?
Yes.
And then by a change in his relationship with the government of Guam, he stopped being a classified employee, became an unclassified employee under the guise of a professional status.
I don't agree with that, but let's assume arguendo that is correct, Ray. That doesn't do it, because the popular mythology is that a unclassified employee can run for office, and that's not true. There are 5 exceptions to our so-called Many Hatch Act: holding elected office, staff assistant to the governor, appointed with the consent of the legislature, person from time to time, professional services, or a casual basis. So classified, unclassified is not only a dull tool, it's not a tool at all for determining who can run for office.
Okay.
So what Dave Cruz is he's an employee in the government of Guam. I think he's a classified employee, but it really doesn't matter. He doesn't fit himself with any of the exceptions, and therefore, if he wants to be a candidate, he should run. Or if he wants to be a candidate and he doesn't want to quit, Fernandez should fire him. And that leads into a couple of other questions. But anyhow, I think you see what I'm saying, right, Ray?
Well, no, I'm still kind of fuzzy on this, because it seems to me he either is a classified employee and cannot run and would be a violation of the hatch, or an unclassified employee that has been given this status based on the nature of that position as a, quote, professional. At least that's my read of it. So I need you to explain a little bit more why it doesn't make any difference, classified or unclassified. As you said, it's a dull tool, but it's the only one that we got in the box, right?
Because at the 4 GCA 5101, you find our so-called Many Hatch Act, and it says that it defines what an employee is, and there are 5 exceptions. 1, a person holding elective office. That's not Dave Cruz. 2, a special or staff assistant to the governor. That's not Dave Cruz.
Dave.
And by the way, it's not the former deputy director of corrections either. 3, a person appointed by the governor with the consent of the legislature. That's not Dave Cruz. 4, a person retained from time to time to perform professional or special services for a specific fee. That's not Dave Cruz. 5, a person working on a casual basis on the day he performs no services, etc. That's not Dave Cruz. So he doesn't fit himself into one of these 5. So classified, unclassified, it's Mox Nix.
It doesn't make any difference. He is an employee of the government of Guam, and if he is running, then he is in violation of the Hatch Act.
Exactly.
And so he's got to do one or the other. Now, the PDN article makes a lot of talk about the provisions that allow for the contract, and a conversation with Carlina Charfris over at the Attorney General's office.
Well, that's really interesting, but you know, there's a court case that underlines all of this that provides an even more complete answer. But we'll put that aside for the moment. But this is the same Attorney General's office that opined that the retroactive salary increases that the governor made several years ago were criminal acts, and fumbled her way down to the point where she'll leave office before she's ever had to do anything with that. The same Attorney General that I had so much fun with over that whole certificate of title mess. Excuse me, Ray.
That's all right.
And the same Attorney General that watched as Mike Bora ran up a $1,000 fine because he wouldn't comply with the open government law. The same Attorney General that saw the entire Chamorro Land Trust thing turned into a huge can of worms, all the while having her assistants on board in that office. So, you know, when I see when I hear people now say, well, the Attorney General, I reach for a grain of salt. And I don't agree with what Carlina Charfris, what little bit she said, I don't agree with for the reasons that I mentioned, and you can go into it a little farther. The statute says, and Steve got this in his article, that if you are to be a professional, your job title must have a 0 or 1 preceding it, dictionary of occupational titles. And that isn't, none of this stuff is Dave Cruz. And, you know, I think there was kind of a tell here at the beginning, because in the first story that Steve ran on this, Dennis Rodriguez did all the explanations, and Dave Cruz didn't want to comment. Now, Dave Cruz is a pretty interesting guy because, you know, he's a retired guardsman, and his last post in the Guard was as the United States Property and Fiscal Officer for the Guam National Guard. There are only 54 of those, or 53, and the whole Guard lash-up is an extremely responsible position into which a high degree of trust is placed, and property and fiscal officers are actually on active duty with the Army or the Air Force. So I would expect that Dave really has an understanding of a lot of stuff. And, you know, when he didn't comment, when I saw that story and he didn't comment, I wasn't surprised. But, you know...
Sometimes silence is the strongest tactic that you've got. Don't say anything, don't write it down, and you won't get in any trouble for it. So the question I've got for you, you're a citizen. Do you have standing to take this to the civil service?
Well, I do. Yes, I do. Anybody that lives on, any resident has standing to take it to the civil service. Anyone can write to John Fernandez and say, why do you allow one of your employees to run for public office? And there's even potentially a taxpayer's, taxpayer's proper spending statute suit would probably lie for something like this if someone wanted to go forward.
Well, I mean, it's just a basic civil service complaint. That's the venue for something like this, for a Hatch violation, isn't it? It
is indeed, yes. So, Ray, a little earlier in your program, you mentioned the long screed that Dennis sent out to everybody on the island, Snow White, a couple of the dwarfs.
Yeah, I did.
3 of the bears.
Too long, didn't read.
Well, you know, Dennis wants to tell us that he's every man, and that, you know, he's kind of wants to cast himself as a populist. And kind of like, let's take our government back here. And at the same time, he has a running mate that is on the government payroll for $125,000 running for public office. Compare him. Compare Dennis's situation with a challenger like Javier or somebody else who's out there, working hard to make ends meet and thinks he would like to serve and doesn't have $125,000 at his disposal to fund his campaign. It creates what I would think of as a quasi-incumbency. And because of the way our law is structured, where anybody who works in the governor's office can run and campaign at the same time. And we wonder why we kind of always get what we've always got. And that's a big reason. I think that this would be a real good time to change our law so that if you work for the government, except in a couple of limited categories, you can't run for office or vice versa.
But fix it so that it applies equally to everybody. A note on Facebook, Kenley and Guerrero asking, why did Telena Nelson have to resign from her instructor position at Simon Sanchez? And Dave Cruz gets to switch to a contract so he can have his cake and eat it too. He says the situation is affecting the voters' perceptions of the Rodriguez and Cruz team. Very interesting discussion. I mean, I remember having conversations with Barry Mead while he was still an employee at the Department of Education, and he wanted to run for office, but it quit now and you lose the retirement, right?
You can no longer enhance your retirement. If you quit and come back, where you were when you quit is as far as you'll ever go. Another example is Joe San Augustine, who ran a couple of times.
Joe S. Yeah.
Quit his job both times and came back, got his job back, and then the governor beat him up for coming back to work.
Well, it's because the law. I can read, and it's in the law. This will be interesting. Somebody needs to, and as far as I know, it would be, because I think we've had the conversation with Mr. C over at the Civil Service Commission, it would probably end up being the first ever complaint.
Oh, there have been other complaints, Ray.
That have gone all the way through?
That have gone to the Civil Service Commission up until...
that have been adjudicated?
Yes, up until 10 or 12 years ago, a Hatch Act violation was termination and nothing else. And then the statute was amended so it can be no penalty, 30-day suspension, or termination. I don't think anybody has ever been penalized, but cases have been brought before the Civil Service Commission.
I'll check back with him because he didn't seem to remember anybody that had been before the mast on it and had taken it all the way through to some kind of a penalty phase. So we'll talk about that some more. Last thing before I let you run, because I'm worried that you're going to have another coughing fit again, is you've sent a FOIA to the Election Commission on the details on the executive committee matter that nobody knows anything about.
That's correct.
Have you received anything back from Maria?
I got a written response back from Maria, and then we talked, and I'm going another step forward. And could I just stop here for a second and say it's such a pleasure to have to deal with, or to be in a position to deal with a government employee who really understands what it's all about. She answers the phone, she returns calls. If you give her a FOIA, she does her best to comply. She does comply with the law. And unlike Michael Bora, who was, just stiffed and, it was just I cost him $1,000. And if Maria's attitude could catch on in other parts of the government, I think we'd all be much happier with.
I've enjoyed all of our conversations, and she's always been gracious, even to the point where she was gracious telling me that all of the questions that I had about the Executive Commission, the Executive Committee meeting of the Guam Election Commission was under seal because it was confidential. And I'm annoyed that we don't know what it was about. Was it about campaign spending? Was it about Dave Cruz's eligibility to run? Was it what was the other flap over at the Election Commission before?
See, here's the thing, Ray. It's if it is so confidential, then how did it ever get into the commission in executive session? It's kind of like having a statute that says everything that arises under this statute is confidential, cannot be discussed including this statute.
Yeah.
So how, if there were matters for the commission to discuss, and nothing was said in the open session except we got to go into executive session to talk
about that thing,
How did that happen? Or was there an illegal meeting preceding the commission meeting where A said to B, we got this complaint, but we can't talk about it in open session? Well, I'll tell you what, just tell everybody that when we get to the end of the meeting, we'll go into the executive session to discuss it then. Because every time I've ever seen an executive session, going all the way back to
you're right. There's some kind of genesis. At some point, somebody had to say, we know this thing about Michael Knight, but we can't discuss it out here in the open. We'll have to go into executive session.
Or even somebody needs to say there is a matter that has arisen that deals with something that can be dealt with under executive session pursuant to, 3 GCA,
whatever,
et cetera. Because that's the way I've been to a lot of executive sessions, including the one that gave rise to Palomo versus Paris, where Judge Cruz decided that the Civil Service Commission cannot debate cases in executive session. And it always followed that same pattern. You don't know what the discussion is, but you at least know that there's a reason for an executive session other than, well, we're going into executive session now, and that's what I'm following up on. I'm still working on it.
Well, you need some help. Let me know. I'll write a letter with you. It's 7:59 and change. Bob, I got to run. Hope you're feeling better next time we talk.
Thank you, Ray.
We're KUSG. I got you. Time for Fox News.
Dangerous flash flooding. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. A search continues in Ellicott City, Maryland for a man who disappeared while helping a woman find her cat as flash floods tore through the region.
He, along with some other folks, went back to assist her, and unfortunately during that effort, they saw him go under the water and not surface.
Howard County Police Chief Gary Gardner says the 39-year-old man is a member of the National Guard and an Air Force veteran. Authorities in Maryland say more than 300 residents were helped during the deluge, including 30 by swiftwater rescue teams. Subtropical storm Alberto, the first named storm of the season, bringing heavy rain and strong winds to the Gulf Coast.
The heavy rainfall leading to a significant risk of flash flooding across the Florida Panhandle, much of Alabama, as well as Georgia. On Tuesday, Alberta will be dumping more rain on the Tennessee Valley and western Carolinas. Today, the Florida Panhandle, Alabama, and Georgia could receive up to 8 inches of rain, with isolated spots receiving possibly a foot.
Fox's Phil Keating in Panama City Beach, Florida. President Trump helped place a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknowns as he took part in Memorial Day ceremonies at Arlington National Cemetery today.
He made remarks at a ceremony honoring the nation's war dead, saying we pay tribute to their service, we mourn alongside their families, and we strive to be worthy of their sacrifice.
The grief renewed, the memories relived, those last beautiful moments together.
The president said the lives and deeds of America's greatest heroes will never be forgotten.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland in Washington. American diplomats are in North Korea working on plans for next month's summit between President Trump and Kim Jong-un. The president has discussed moving forward with the meeting despite canceling the summit earlier last week. Fox News. Fair and balanced.
My mom is really great. She's as sweet as she can be. When I need some help, I know she's always there for me. My mom loves me all the time, even when I'm naughty. Thank you for all you do. Hugwai sahau, Mommy.
For the entire month of May, stop by FHP Vision Center for 25% off sunglasses and 30% off lenses with ophthalmic frames. Receive an entry form to win a Coach Clutch pouch when you buy any Coach eyewear. Conditions apply. Happy Mother's Day, Guahan, from your friends at FHP.
In this divided world, there are still a few things that unite us. The thrill of an exciting championship game.
Fires to the end zone. Touchdown!
The sound of great music.
The Grammy goes to...
And the love we have for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam presents to you For the Love of Burgers menu. For a limited time, we want you to put down that fork, tuck that napkin in your collar, and go for broke with an amazing burger for just $11.99. 8 burgers to try, and time is a wasting. Ruby Tuesday Guam lunchtime. See you soon.
A Utah man expected to arrive in his home state after 2 years as a captive in a Venezuelan prison.
26-year-old Joshua Holt was held in a Venezuelan prison for 2 years, accused of stockpiling weapons, a claim he and his family dispute. He said he was going there to marry a woman he'd met online, a woman who is now his wife. After being released, he, his wife, and parents met with President Trump at the White House Saturday.
Just so grateful for what you guys have done and for thinking about me and caring about me, just a normal person. So it really touches me, and thank you.
You've been very brave, actually. You've been incredibly brave.
He and his wife have been receiving medical treatment in D.C., but are expected to return to Salt Lake City tonight. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
It's desk duty for 2 New Jersey police officers seen punching the head of a young woman on the beach.
Wildwood, New Jersey police say an internal investigation is ongoing. Video shows an officer hitting the 20-year-old woman twice in the head as he restrained her. She says she was trying to defend herself. Wildwood's police chief called the video alarming. One beachgoer, Kelly Bryson, tells Fox 29 in Philadelphia that she thinks this calls for more training.
There's a lot of things going on with underage drinking and everything, so I just think if they were retrained to handle that better, I think that would be a great option.
The woman was suspected of drinking but posted on Facebook she had not taken a sip. Police are asking anyone with video of the incident to come forward. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
School officials in Riverton, Wyoming are apologizing for cocktail glasses and playing cards branded with the casino's name handed out to students during an event to teach students about local American Indian tribes' cultures. The gifts were provided by the Wind River Hotel and Casino in Riverton. Some parents in the district worried that the playing cards and glasses with the casino's logo encouraged gambling. The casino says other items were offered. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News Radio.
Chili's Smokehouse menu just got tastier with their new smoked honey chipotle short ribs, marinated and smoked for hours. Try the smoked honey chipotle short ribs and chicken combo, or enjoy the family combo with mouth-watering honey chipotle short ribs, Texas-sized baby back ribs, crispy chicken, and juicy barbecue chicken served with home-style French fries and corn on the cob. It's the Chili's Smokehouse menu, now with smoked honey chipotle short ribs, available for a limited time. Chili's, more life happens here.
With the largest inventory of rental equipment on Guam, East West Rental Center is sure to have the tool you need to get your job finished quickly. From equipment rental, party rental, parts and service to used equipment, East West Rental Center has what you need. Call East West Rental Center at 646-1463 or visit them online and browse through their online rental catalog at eastwestrental.com. They're located in Upper Tumon, right across St. John's School. East West Rental Center, providing the island of Guam with quality equipment rentals since 1972.
Rain. It's nature's way of cleansing the earth. Yet by the time that rainwater makes its way to your home, it may not be exactly the same as nature created it. A Connecticut water treatment system can improve the quality of the water you and your family drink and use throughout your home, so you can be sure your water is clear, clean, and fresh, just as nature intended it to be. Connecticut, for refreshing ideas on water.
American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water. Call American Water Tech, 649-2301, or email info@americanwatertech.com.
Smoky Mountain Barbecue.
Howdy, folks. Can't get enough of my KFC Smoky Mountain Barbecue? I'm bringing more to Guam this month with my new KFC Smoky Mountain Grilled Barbecue Chicken. KFC's chicken coated with a sweet and smoky barbecue sauce. Oh, and by the way, Smoky Mountain Barbecue is still available on KFC's Extra Crispy Chicken and boneless strips. KFC, it's finger licking good.
As we journey through the new year, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 8 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The total is in for the additional revenue collected in April by the increased business privilege tax. The governor's office announcing yesterday that about $6 million more was collected in April over the same month last year. That amounts to a total of $22 million collected in April compared to just $16 million last year in April. That, according to a release from the governor's office. Revenue Tax Director John Camacho saying if collections continue at this pace for the rest of the fiscal year, we should be okay, he said, meaning there should be enough revenue to cover the $67 million shortfall GovGuam is now facing. The governor, however, yesterday warning that it's too soon to make any changes to the new tax law. The governor acknowledged there's been some discussion about revising or repealing it, but he said without addressing the anticipated $100 million shortfall expected for next fiscal year or responding to the needs of GMH or Guam DOE, eliminating or changing the tax would be irresponsible, he said. Meanwhile, the governor has agreed to extend the tax amnesty application period for another 3 weeks through June 19th. It was supposed to end today. The extension applies to the application period only. The deadline for full payment of past due taxes remains August 6th, and the terms are unchanged. Delinquent taxpayers must deposit at least 10% of the principal they owe when they file their applications for amnesty. All penalties and interest are forgiven. Revenue Tax Director John Camacho telling the Guam Daily Post that he recommended extending the application period after receiving numerous requests from delinquent taxpayers who said they needed more time to secure financing from a bank to pay off what they owe. The tax amnesty application period began on May 7th. As of last Wednesday, Camacho said about 210 people had submitted applications and made deposits totaling roughly $1.2 million. Although that doesn't necessarily translate into $12 million in eventual collections. He said some people paid off all of what they owe in full. Others may not be able to pay off the balance of what they owe by the August 6th deadline. We'll have more news after this.
Say hello to high-speed data on the widest 4G LTE network in the Marianas. We've just upped your prepaid data, so make your big plans bigger with 1 gigabyte of data per day. Bigger prepaid data for your big plans that just keep getting better. Enjoy high-speed data and unlimited local talk and text on the widest 4G LTE network in the Marianas. Text LTE to 3282, select a plan, and enjoy 1 gigabyte of data per day. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
Did you hear that Morrico Equipment on Ipoh Road in Tuning is now an employee-owned company? It's called an ESOP, or ESOP, which stands for Employee Stock Ownership Plan. Collectively, the employees now own Morrico Equipment. Morrico made this change in response to the U.S. military buildup on Guam to retain key employees and to recruit new ones. There's now strong motivation for employees as owners to take responsibility for their role in the company. If you're interested in talking to Morrico about future employment prospects, please apply through their webpage, morricoequipment.com.
11 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. Members of Guam's motorcycle community created a makeshift memorial for one of their own yesterday afternoon, a day after Andrew J. Damian was killed when his bike crashed on Route 2 in Agate and landed in a ditch. Ladies of Harley officer Kelly Rodriguez saying that Damian was a member of the Harley of Guam and Chetluship Familia Motorcycle Clubs. He was 33 years old, she said. Damian was on a ride Sunday with about 20 other motorcyclists from various clubs when the crash occurred. It happened around 3 in the afternoon near Chalanlanchero in Agate. Damian was rushed to Naval Hospital, where he was pronounced dead later on Sunday afternoon. His death marks the 8th traffic fatality on Guam's roads this year. The National Weather Service is warning that a volcanic haze from the Kilauea volcano in Hawaii is spreading across Micronesia. The Weather Service projects that the so-called VOG is spreading southwestward. It's already spread over the Marshalls, expected to continue westward across Micronesia. Residents in Micronesia with respiratory issues should stay indoors and avoid being outdoors when the haze is present. Mariners and pilots are also advised to be aware of lower visibilities caused by the haze. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Here's Ray with some weather.
Yeah, watch out. That haze is going to make the babies get born naked. Partly cloudy skies today with isolated showers. Winds from the east up to about 20 miles an hour. Expected highs near 90 degrees. That's what the thermometer is going to say, but you will feel like it's much hotter. Like about 103 is what the heat index is supposed to be today. Overnight lows of about 79 degrees. I've refreshed the weather map. Doesn't look all that different from what it looked like at 6 o'clock this morning. You spot any differences there, Mike?
Well, I'm looking at the radar, actually, and we're showing some pretty strong showers. Yeah, we're showing some pretty strong showers, individually strong, but still isolated to our east that may move throughout the day today. Looking at the map right here, you can see just east of Guam how some of this stuff streaming from west to east is starting to kind of curl up counterclockwise. This is what the forecaster was talking about, Paul, earlier this morning. We've got a big upper level low that's starting to form up. That's actually going to increase the chance for thunder showers because that means there's very cold air aloft, as they say. So, but for the most part, nothing widespread for us until maybe this weekend.
All right, so it's hot right now, and it's going to be hot and rainy over the weekend. That's for prediction. Watch out for the muggy. It's going to come and get you. 8:13 in the morning. That's news and weather together, brought to you by Bank Pacific, where others put branches, they place roots.
Ready to buy real estate on Guam? Congratulations! But what now? There's so many questions, so many things to do. Where do you start? The best place to start is to call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty, Guam's biggest name in real estate. They aren't the best because they're the biggest. They're the biggest because they're the best. Trust the name. Find out why. Call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty today. 888-2121. Trust the best.
Hey, you know where's the best lunchtime waiting for you today? It's at King's Restaurant. Today is Tuesday. For some of you, that's a major revelation, right? It's wait a second, no, it's Monday because we just had the weekend, right? No! So 3-day weekend, and it's a Tuesday already today. Beefsteak tomorrow is on tap. Tomorrow, pork sinigang. Thursday's meatloaf, and Friday is beef tinaktak. You can try the pick 2 or pick 3 combo. It's lunchtime at King's.
So you want to buy a house, but you don't know how much you could borrow. So what do? Well, you come to Bank Pacific and get pre-qualified. Sit down with one of our home loan specialists and let us see how much we can lend you so you know how much you can spend on your new home. Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, conditions apply. Come pre-qualified today.
Portions of the program also brought to you by Security Title, making sure you actually own the property you think you just bought.
Stop by any Circle K today and overload your For Real. It's simple. Pick out your favorite For Real shake, blend it, and then mix and match any 2 toppings for only $1. Overload your For Real with a variety of sweet treats like Oreo cookies, gummy bears, classic M&Ms or peanut M&Ms, and Reese's peanut butter cups. Simply add them to your For Real shake for an overload experience and enjoy. For Real Overload, only available at participating Circle Ks. Circle K, take it easy.
The Ray Gibson Show. Any speaker, anytime. Watch and listen live on thepoint.gu.
Do you like my coffee canister? Is it pretty? Do you adore it? It's pink.
It's nice. It's bold of you. It's very bold of you to rock that.
It's my daughter's. It's
though, if
it's not pink, it's like salmon.
And that's what I was going to say. It's almost like a lavender rosé. I was going to say that's a very, if it can be true, that's a very manly shade of pink. Because it's not quite pink. It's almost like rose gold in areas, and also lavender and kind of a steel pink. Never before in my life have I had 2 men on the radio discuss the finer points of a pink thermos.
Well, I was getting to the part where I was going to be manly and talk about. I went on a boat yesterday. I went in the ocean.
Nice.
I was a mariner for a short time yesterday.
Nice.
As we went on a dolphin watching thing, a dolphin watching excursion.
Ooh, they watch back.
They do.
Just saying.
They do.
They're very interactive too. They like seeing, I guess, people, us coming.
There was a point where at least one of these dolphins was showing off. You know, he'd come out of the water and he'd splash and he'd do that cool little dolphin thing and then come back a couple of seconds later.
Let you know that
just when you think he's not going to do it again, it does it. I think it's a he. I don't know. I can't tell. But so I'm digging the whole process. It's not the first time I've been in the ocean on a boat near dolphins. It's the first time I'd ever gone out to actually try to find them with these guys.
Because normally you're just on the boat and they just kind of swim up as you come back in or whatever.
The bow waves and stuff. But it was nice to just kind of watch them in their environment, see the little cubs out there, and as I said earlier, for me, I want to go back and see if they'll let me wrestle with one of them.
Yeah, you think so? Yeah, I hear that they're strong. I hear they're strong.
It should be kind of tricky because they're slippery and wet.
Yes.
And they look like they've got very slippery skin. So it'd be hard to hold on to them.
And they're used to moving around in the water of the likes that we don't know about,
Smart animals, smart creatures. What do they do? They say they eat and have sex and swim all day. That's it. That's the life of the dolphin. And what do we do? Sports. With Blake! Sorry. Catch the producer. My surprise. It's my way.
Yeah, but it's the best bed, so.
It is one of the sweet music beds that ramps us into an incredible conversation about sports. We left the program on Friday morning and saying basically there wasn't anything sports-wise to talk about because everything was going to be taking place over the weekend. And sure enough, big 13.8 mile race that the Guam Running Club had, which it was well attended. I saw many of the runners at or near the finish line on Saturday morning. Sunday, of course, the Cocos Crossing, and that's all over Facebook.
28th annual too. That's what I'm actually. Yeah, that's what I've got as my lead, just because the plethora of information is so abundant. There is, like you said, it's everywhere. It was a good social media experience, I guess, because a lot of people put that on their stories, on their Facebook, and it seems like it was a huge success for the 28th year of the Guam Cocos Crossing down south.
Have you ever pondered the idea of swimming that kind of distance? I mean, you've been down to Marie, so you know where it is.
I used to train one of our former triathletes, Toby Thiessen. I've trained with him. I just for fun, I trained with him for a while, and what we were going to do is we were going to swim the length of Tumon Bay and then get out, like swim from one side of, Tumon to the other, and then get out, go up on the street, and then run back. Wow. I made it about from Gun Beach to maybe Beach Bar. And
what is that, 50 feet?
Yeah, and then, and then I tried to climb the Weston Steps, and I think I got like halfway up the landing, and I was like, you know what?
Stupid leg
when
day.
I get to the top, I'm just going to get in my car and leave. I'm not. It was good. It was fun. But I'm not.
But did you do the swim?
I ish.
You swim-ished.
Yes. Cardio is really kind of my kryptonite. I can lift weights, no problem.
Yeah.
It's never been an issue. But cardio, running specifically, I can swim easier than I can run, but it's just not. Cardio has always been my Achilles heel.
When I was a little boy, we used to have swimming lessons at the USO camp down in Petey. And it was wonderful, but I quickly learned that I was not a fast swimmer, because when they have these little drills and you start off at the beach and then you end up over at a little pier that they had to say, okay, go, and I just always came in last at it. So for me, there's this negative on swimming that goes back to when I was like 6 or 7 years old, and even as a 56-year-old guy, somebody says, well, you run, you can ride a bike, why don't you join the triathlons? And I'm going, but I don't want to swim.
I'll swim, yeah, that gets you. My mom.
But they say you're fast. Well, you'll catch all the guys on the run course.
And I don't know what this says about our armed forces, but no, I'm just kidding. But my mother, chief in the Navy, does not know how to swim. Cannot swim. She can tread water-ish, but she'd be the first to tell you. She's like, yeah, I cannot swim. And most people are like, but aren't you a chief in the Navy?
Well, you got those Popeye arms. You a good swimmer there, Mike?
I can swim, but generally I only get in the water when I just want to play in the waves.
Right.
Where we're from, down there where we're from, you don't have to swim so much as you have to be able to balance while drinking in an inner tube and floating down a river. That's what we do down where we're from.
Kev, what about you?
Rivers.
Swimming?
Like to float.
Like to float too, yeah. Float's fun.
That's it. So you jump in the water, you're at the beach and you're having a good time, and they said, let's go in the water. I said, what for?
To bathe.
Okay, well, I'll go and I'll find a spot where there's not a whole lot of rocks and balati, and I'll just sit there and enjoy the water and sometimes make it a little bit warmer, if you know what I mean.
It's a funny Moana joke too.
It's a diver's delight. What can I say? Yeah. So that was one of the big deals that took place over the weekend. There was baseball.
Oh yeah, I do have that here. Sorry, you caught me with my phone locked.
So you want me to go over some of this?
Sure, I got it. If
okay.
You want to.
Anyway. 2-1 final. The O's win.
Yes, they are undefeated, 2-0. They take care of the Expos, who are looking for their first win. They're 0-1. It seems that the winning pitcher
Well, they're 0-2 now.
Or 0-2 now. The O's actually climbed to 3-0. Sorry, with that win. Jesse Minor on the hill, 3 strikeouts. Eric Cepeda came in for relief. He gets 5 strikeouts for the O's. Randy Alcantara, 3 for 4 at the plate. He gets 1 run, and J.R. Hattig, formerly of the Major League, 0 for 1 RBI, and Jathan Munya Barnes. That Munya Barnes family, really big into baseball.
Yeah, we can turn them out.
Yeah, they're good. He gets 1 run as well. As for the Expos, Jared Alerta went 2 for 4, and it looks like the next game is going to be tonight as the Giants, 0-2, take on the Rays, 2-0. So Giants looking for their first win, and the Rays putting their undefeated streak on the line, looking for 3-0.
So Jotnia 14-2 over the Junior Nationals.
Is that the Red Hawks, right? Junior Red Hawks? Are they still using that name? Or is it just says Junior?
I don't know. That's the number I got here.
Okay.
And I'm not even sure what day they played. It was Nationals versus Junior Red Hawks. Yeah.
Maybe Sunday.
And it was 14-2. That's a tough one.
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one. So it'll
Sounds
be
like a
interesting
run
to
rule
see what happens with the Junior Nationals when they take on the Orioles.
Yes.
Whenever that game happens to be. Okay, what else were you watching over the weekend?
I was actually watching this. Because I saved this for a kind of a desolate time in sports. The Yukon Arctic Ultra, Ray. If nobody has been hip to this, I listen to some podcasts and I keep up with fringe sports. So there are, and I'm sure you know this, there are marathons called ultra marathons out there. And they're they start, like the lowest ones start around 100 miles, but they can go up to, I think the Moab 240 is actually 250 mile. It's a 250 mile run. And these runners, these high endurance super athletes, they only sleep for like a minute in 3 days, 2 days while they're running. Because, you know, the speed is the name of the game. So they don't want to stop for too long. And when you're running 250 miles, you can imagine it takes a couple days. So, you know, you push yourself to the limits is basically my point. Well, this one I'm talking about, and I did this story pertaining to something else, but Canada's Yukon Territory. Let's see here. Competitors cross an unforgiving medley of icy streams, snow-covered fields, and even black bear habitats at distances ranging from a standard marathon to 300 miles by mountain bike, cross-country skis, or good old-fashioned feet. Now, this year, the 300-mile Yukon Arctic Ultra began February 1st, ended on the 8th day of February. The winner, the only competitor to cross the finish line, he was technically the last-place finisher as well. He is a guy from South Africa, Jethro de Decker. He's an ultra runner and adventure cyclist. There were only 20 racers that entered this event. He's the only one
it's hard.
that finished. The real carnage took place on the 300 mile on February 5th. Extreme temperatures forced organizers to
The rest got eaten by bears.
Right?
Frostbite was a concern.
Yeah.
Cold-induced electrical generators and snowmobiles failed, so that even if you were stranded there on certain days of this year's race, they couldn't help you. During the race, organizers post daily blog updates, and it looks like the harrowing scene, which runners confronted, minus 40 degrees temperatures.
In May?
Right in February.
Crazy.
Yeah.
There are a couple of ultra runners here. One of it, she doesn't live here now. She's I think going to school in the States. Aisha Lynn Perez.
Okay, yes.
She did the North Face 50.
Where is that? Is that up in Canada somewhere cold, or is it Alaska?
It's on the Appalachian Trail.
Oh, okay. So kind of like the Newfoundland side.
McAfee Knob, I think, is where she's talking about. But she finished that one as well. I think she placed.
One of the one of the former competitors, not from this year's, but from this race that I was just telling you about, the Yukon Arctic Ultra winner. The reason that I was
first place in it. Come to think of it, I
was even privy to it is because a British runner, lost 3 toes to frostbite.
Yes.
And in turn, he sent them to a bar in Canada where they served a toe cocktail. Kind of like, you have a whiskey rock? Well, they have that with toes. Like, so, it's like, I'll take a glass of whiskey with, it's called
somebody's toe.
With the toe in it, yeah. And then you return the glass with the toe still in it. And so anyway, that's how I found out about this race, because there's a guy who donated 3 of his toes to this Canadian bar. And now they were stolen. That story.
What's wrong with you white people?
That's Canadians. That's British and the British and the Canadians.
It's just here's my toe, fermented, and serve it up with some tequila or something like that. There's just something wrong with that.
But he lost it in this Yukon Arctic Ultra Marathon.
Yeah, so runner mentality, I'm going, he's lighter. That means probably run a little bit faster.
less grip on the ground.
The special shoes, and put the guy in a special shoe or something like that is going to be absolutely okay. Or you lose the other 3 feet in another Ultra, or the other 3 toes in another Ultra.
Yes.
And then you've got some kind of balance going. So it could work out for everybody. So you could do the same thing here on Guam. There's no reason why we could not do
an Ultra
race here on Guam. The problem is that it's so hot here, and there are we still need to do the trails and all of that stuff. A lot of these events are trail running events through boondocks and, like I said, on the Appalachian Trail, where it's just nothing.
Black bear habitats and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, so we could end up doing something along those lines.
There's a really cool Netflix documentary about an ultra marathon per se. We've talked about it before, the Barkley marathons, and it's on Netflix if anybody ever gets a hankering to find out more about extreme running.
So my friend Charlie just got Netflix.
Oh, what do you mean just got Netflix?
Just. we were talking about it. We were talking about just over the weekend, and he gave me that look like he just found God. Just found religion there.
That heavenly sound.
Yeah, he says, dude, I just got Facebook. I said, why are you here? You should be at home. And it's just it's the paralysis of all of the choices that are out there on Netflix. And so I said, with Stranger Things, he said, I'm getting there.
I would say if you get
Peaky Blinders, I'm working on it.
Knowing what we know now, because it's a hard question for us, but knowing what we know now, if you could go back and do it, what would you watch first on Netflix? If you just got brand new to Netflix and now it's yours, what are you watching for? Are you watching Stranger Things? Are you going to watch Planet Earth? Are you going to watch, one of your favorites, The Office, 70 shows, something like that?
Yeah, it was. When I first got my hands on, I go back to the Netflix, the original Netflix
the DVD.
model, right?
I
did a DVD in the mail.
I remember that as well.
Those were happy times.
You can still do that.
I think you got to pay extra for it. But, give me the streaming service, any day of the week. So for me, it was, certainly watching some of the old movies that came up and then binging on some of the old television shows that I used to like to watch when I was younger. So, then they started coming out with their own kind of made-for Netflix shows.
The originals.
Where you have an entire season that's available on day number one. That's the stuff that's kind of trippy. So I'd probably go back over the same path.
Yeah.
And watch some of the same shows.
When I think Sons of Anarchy, Breaking Bad, I didn't watch any of those shows while they were on, but it shows like that, that now that they're on Netflix and I can consume them as a movie, I do, because I don't like commercials.
Yeah, so I watched a whole bunch of the Breaking Bad until I realized every season was identical to the first season. It's just different bad guys. The guy's almost made $1 million, and then something bad happens, and he loses it, and he has to start all over again, and we've got a new season.
And there's a new bad guy.
Yeah, and there's a new bad guy, right? So it's like that. I'm sure Sons of Anarchy is exactly the same way. Anyway, 8:30 in the morning, you got to go back over on the Star 101 and finish the morning show.
Yes.
Not going anywhere until at least 10 o'clock. Kevin Kerrigan's got headlines after these.
Don't wait another day and waste another dollar. You can start saving today. At Guahan Insurance Services, we are here to help protect your investment and save you money. We offer insurance advising for business, car, and home insurance. So come and visit us at our new office at Camacho Landmark Center at Marine Corps Drive in Timoning, and let us show you that you can count on us for all your insurance needs. Call 475-1162.
Yeah, how do you get away with a 100-mile ultra run here on Guam, where it's 30 miles top to bottom, 4 miles where it's narrow, 8 miles at its widest? I guess you'd have to go around a couple of times, and I don't like passing the car. Is my thing. Everybody says, "Oh, we'll run this way and we'll run that, and then we'll come back around and then run another 5 miles in that direction." Wait, I just passed the car, right? I don't want to. If I'm going anywhere near the car, I'm finished running. 8:31 in the morning. Headlines now from the Guam Daily Post and Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Daily Post this morning, members of the Guam's motorcycle community created a makeshift memorial for one of their own yesterday afternoon, a day after Andrew J. Damien was killed when his bike crashed on Route 2 in Agate and landed in a ditch. Ladies of Harley officer Kelly Rodriguez said Damien was a member of the Harley of Guam and Chetluship Familia motorcycle clubs. He was 33 years old, she said. Damien was on a ride Sunday with about 20 other motorcyclists when the accident happened. It occurred around 3 in the afternoon near Chalan Lanchero in Agate. Damien was taken to Naval Hospital, where he was pronounced dead later on Sunday afternoon. His death marks the 8th traffic fatality on Guam's roads this year. National Weather Service meteorologist Brandon Eidlet says he thinks it's highly unlikely that any of the cocaine packages that spilled from a freighter that sunk off the Philippines in January ever made it here to Guam. A total of 39 pounds of cocaine has been seized by authorities on island since March, all of which reportedly washed ashore. The source of it still unknown. Taiwan and Philippine media have reported on that January sinking of a Taiwanese flagship off Samar and packages of cocaine washing ashore there in the Philippines. But Idlet telling the Daily Post that the general flow of currents in the northern Pacific Ocean is clockwise, and the trade winds have been easterly throughout this year, so it'd be highly unlikely that any of that cocaine in the Philippines ever found its way here to Guam. Active military personnel, veterans, and island residents gathering at Guam's Veterans Cemetery in PD yesterday for the annual Memorial Day services. Senator Joe San Augustine opening the ceremony, reminding those in attendance that Memorial Day is not just a holiday, but a day to reconnect with our history by honoring and remembering those who gave their lives for the ideals we all cherish. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Thanks, Kev. 8:33 is iConnect time. Connect longer for less with iConnect's push-to-talk and mobile plans.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,500 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 475-4545, Upper Tuon 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959.
See, you're watching me on the Facebook Live, and you got this. Ray's got that smile on his face. He's got that devil look in his eyes. What does he know? What's he know? Will he share? Maybe. We'll see what happens. Depends on what contacts I can make. I'm supposed to tell you that portions of the program are brought to you by my friends over at APL, American President Lines. They're shipping the future.
For more than 40 years, we've managed our island's most precious resource, your health. Take Care's benefit plans allow members access to more than 120 medical providers, 40 dental providers, and 18 pharmacies in the region. Take Care's health plans ensure members in Palau, Saipan, and Guam receive the care they deserve. Our programs and wellness classes have proven results for our valued members, and our commitment to your health never been stronger. Take Care. Our island, your health plan.
Is it traffic? No. There is no major traffic to report here this morning. GDOE is out of the school business right now, so there isn't going to be a whole lot by way of buses. Seeing some traffic beginning to build. Golly, down Santa Rita way on Route 12. 2 Alpha, just before you get to the intersection that takes you into Navy and Sumai, traffic building through there. That means there's more cars than usual at this time of day. Seeing the same thing with northbound traffic on East Sunset Boulevard. That's the one in front of the airport that takes you to Ocean Vista and Route 16. When you get to Route 16, you might see a little bit of a snag here as traffic trying to move up the hill and make that turn onto Route 10 or just keep going straight. You might also find a little bit of traffic trying to bend down to Route 16 from 10 Alpha as well. That's right now traffic here in The Point.
Are you a homeowner looking to save money on your power bill? Ever thought about getting solar on your roof? If the answer is yes, Micronesia Renewable Energy will install a solar energy system on your roof for zero money down, so you can save money on your power bill. Sign up in the month of May, and MRE will pay you $400 in cash. That's right. In the month of May, get a solar energy system on your roof, and MRE will pay you $400 just for signing up. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Legislature, I guarantee it, coming to the legislature. I'm surprised I haven't seen the bill out yet, but they've already had the conversation about banning plastic bags, single-use plastic bags, and the European Union is putting a move to ban single-use plastics. And in the article is pictures of straws, plastic straws. That's the next thing, kids. That's the next thing. That's where we're headed. And I'm already beginning to feel friends and family will go someplace and say, yeah, I want to drink. Give me a water. But no straw. No straw. Which is the right way to do it. In my mind, I don't think we need to get into this whole let's ban everything because a few people have got an issue about the environment. I'm not saying that they're the best things for the environment, but if you want to do something about it, just reduce your demand of it. Don't ask for it. You go to the drive-through. I'd like a drink. Keep the straw, which will make me crazy. It'll make me nuts because I cannot drink a soda that I get from a drive-thru or a tea or a lemonade from a drive-thru without a straw. I'm sorry, I can't. Something about the paper cup doesn't do it for me. But they do make paper straws, so I think that there's going to be an opportunity. If you're in the business of working with customers, just be aware that there are going to be some customers that a heightened sense of awareness when it comes to the environment and don't want plastic straws. So start going to your vendors and saying, send me paper ones, because it's biodegradable, and that will make all of my environmentally conscious friends that much happier. The environment, big topic of conversation. We were looking out from the boat onto the western side of the beautiful island of Guam, I must say, and noted that there was a haze over stuff. And I was trying to remember something that Mike Knight posted up on the interweb on Facebook about the haze and the possibility that we might be seeing some of that volcanic fog that is coming down here. Obviously, it was told in the Marshalls they've got a problem with it. The latest NOAA high-split model run executed by WFO Guam projects haze produced by Kilauea volcano in Hawaii to spread southwestward over the next few days. The trajectory indicates haze will spread southwestward across Micronesia. The haze plume barely visible on the latest visible satellite loops. Local weather observers at both Kwajalein and Majuro in the Marshall Islands have reported haze at the airports today. The haze is expected to spread further westward and reach Kusrai, Pohnpei, and possibly Chuuk over the next few days. And there might be some of that microscopic particulate that is out there right now. I don't know what's in it. And if the car gets dirty and it's not because you went off-road with it, then my suggestion is very carefully and very gently wash the car. You don't want to be going and rubbing that stuff into the paint because, remember where it came from. It's the same place where, rocks and glass come from.
Pretty much, yeah. It'd be just like taking a volcanic rock and running it across the finish. Not a good idea. Just take some water and rinse it off and be gentle.
And, so do the microfiber thing. That's the one I like, even though it feels weird in your hands. Anyway, so there's that. So I've got... Not sure how to approach it, but I'm just going to do it anyway. 20 away from 9 o'clock in the morning. And I have got, how do I say this? I'm trying to figure out how to get the words out of my mouth without making her mad. Yeah, it's too late. So I got a note from a guy who says that Doris Flores Brooks, you might remember the name, works over at the public auditor's office because she's the public auditor. This is the rumor. Stop me if you've heard this before. And the rumor is that she is going to be leaving that position, like in the next couple of days maybe. She's going to be quit that job and announce her running for Congress. Have you heard that? Is that floating around in your universe? Doris Brooks leaving the public auditor's office in order to run for Congress. Now, I'd mentioned that to a couple of people and said, haven't we heard this before? And I say, yeah, trying to remember. Vaguely, it's in my head. But that's the scuttlebutt. Now, I said, obviously I wouldn't just throw this up on the radio without checking with a couple of people, one of whom we're trying to check with now, and that would be the actual Doris Flores Brooks. to see if she's got it. And yeah, we're getting into voicemail here. Maybe there's an important meeting going on. Maybe she's getting the finishing touches on the application for the Guam Election Commission. I don't know. We'll see. But that's where the conversation seems to be going, and that she is going to be running for office. That's okay if you can't. It's all right. So she's going to be running for Congress. Now, the people that I've talked to about this, at least one of them says there might be another opportunity here if you can convince. Now, how would this play out? If you could get Doris Flores Brooks to run for Congress, and arguably, I think she's got the political clout here, the political capital to take on the Congresswoman, who I believe is having a birthday party tonight. Do you think that she's got the political spend to be able to take on Congresswoman Madeline Z. Bordallo? You know what I might do with this? Hold on a second. Let me just poll question. I'm just inspired now to do the poll question. MZB, Doris Flores Brooks, Mike Sinicolas. Who will you support for the Congress job? I almost said the Congresswoman's job, the Congressman job, huh? So it's interesting. Play around with it. I haven't been able to get anybody to confirm it. I checked with one person I know very close to the subject, and she returned with a WhatsApp with one of these little emojis on the WhatsApp. It's the one where the smiling face has got a zipper instead of a mouth. So this person in particular probably is not able to confirm nor deny. I've talked, like I said, to a couple of other people that are relatively close to political scuttlebutt in this town, and they said, yes, they have heard that is the case. And also pushed me to push Mike Sinicolas to run for Congress instead, to run for OPA instead of Congress. Now, how would that mess up the apple cart around here? Don't know. Ponder. Give it some thought. Get back to me. 888-8255 is the telephone number around here. 888-8255 if you want to talk on the radio about that or really anything else. I mean, there's a ton of other issues that we get to play around with. One of them is what's going to be happening over at the legislature today. And they've got a fairly busy day planned, the continuation of fiscal year 2019 budget hearings. And today the victims are Guam Visitors Bureau, and then there's the Office of Technology. Now, GVB, as I said before, the interesting thing about GVB is they've got money coming in from the Tourist Attraction Fund and all of the taxes that get paid and that. The problem is that the Guam Visitors Bureau oftentimes, because they've got money coming in from a readily identifiable source and a fairly healthy source at that most of the time, is those dollars become irresistible to members of the legislature, and they can craft, you can come out and say that this is black and this is white, and they would be able to convince you and say, yes, but for the purposes of the people of Guam, black is now white. So we can use the money that we get from the Visitors Bureau to fund something that is completely out of the realm of the hospitality industry and what they do. So there's my hope is that they get a chance to keep some of the dollars that they're going to be getting. And then you've got the Office of Technology, which for me is kind of interesting because I honestly can't think of anything that has come out of the Office of Technology. I don't know. Maybe I'm not getting the press releases. But what is it that they do there, and how have they made my life better? To what degree has the Office of Technology provided for a change in the technological infrastructure of my life or the government of Guam? So that, I don't know, I can run faster and jump higher and download 2 different shows on Netflix or watch Netflix and Hulu at the same time.
Well, they've avoided wasteful spending on technology. We can surely assume that.
I don't know what they've done. It'll be interesting. It's supposed to be doing zero base over there. At any rate, I got my friend Tony Lamorena's on the phone. Hafaton.
Hafaday, Ray. How you doing?
You know what? I'm doing okay. I was just thinking about the Department of Corrections, but while I was looking at the deal at the legislature, remembering that you used to run the Guam Visitors Bureau.
Yes, I did.
And I remember back in those days where it's like, hey, this is my money. Stop taking my money and giving it to other people. I have nothing to do with hospitality and the tourism game.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah. Not necessarily reliving those over at the Department of Corrections, are you?
I wish we had money from GVB coming our way.
Well, there's, you know what, as I said, a crafty politician might be able to find a way to link tourism attraction fund dollars, hotel occupancy taxes, with the Department of Corrections and saying, no, it's...
my occupancy is, I believe, much better than most hotels down in Tucson.
I think you're right. But maybe there is a way to do something like that. I'm not trying to take any of Nate's money away, but...
Well, we do a lot of work for the community as it is. If you look at all the overlooks around the island, it's actually maintained by the Department of Corrections. So if you look if you go to Nimitz Hill, overlooking Agana Heights and Naval Hospital, we maintain that. And on the opposite side, going down toward Upper Harbor on Nimitz Hill, we recently cleared about 200 yards of that. So now, as you go down, you get a beautiful view of a panoramic view of Upper Harbor. We do Seti Bay. And if you notice, when you pass Seti Bay now, to the left on the mountainside, we've cleared that a couple hundred yards. Now you see the beautiful mountainside. So we do a lot of beautification cleanups, not only the scenic sites, but within the villages. The mayor's calling us on a weekly basis to assist them in their villages.
Well, I've been a fan of that kind of prison industry for a long time, and I know that you've got some clients in the Department of Corrections that are could be considered low level. And perfectly safe if you got somebody keeping an eye on them outside.
Sure.
The question that I get is, how often does that happen? And maybe there needs to be a way for DEPCOR to provide some mechanism to at least me in the media, so I can tell people to be on the lookout for it. Not so much to, hey, be on the lookout for these DEPCOR clients, but just to let them know that there are still those kinds of activities taking place in the prison. Because you get some people, unless they see it on Marine Corps Drive or Route 8, it didn't happen.
Yeah, that's right. And we used to go out on a daily basis, but because of man shortage, we're going out 2 to 3 days a week now. But we maintain the scenic routes that I told you about. We recently, for example, assisted Veterans Affairs in maintaining the Veterans Cemetery in time for Memorial Day yesterday. So, and then we also did the cleanup. Prepared the grounds for Relay for Life this weekend. So, we do a lot for the community.
So maybe Nate does need to give you a couple of bucks for machetes and bush cutters and two-stroke oil for your engines.
I mean, I've got the manpower. It doesn't cost us anything, but in regards to equipment is where we're lacking.
And they want to be out there doing it.
Sure, they enjoy it, actually.
Do they? I forgot. I used to know the answer to the question, but you're the new guy in the shop now. Do they get any credit for that community activity?
Yes, they do. They get time credit, so for every 40 hours, they get 1 day off.
Huh. All right. So that begins to add up for a lot of guys, and maybe an opportunity for them to what's the word I'm looking for? Pay their debt to society faster.
Correct.
Huh.
And like I said, they enjoy it. They get out into the community. They enjoy it. It's rather, better than being locked up in a cell. So they get out there, get fresh air, and they enjoy giving back to the community as well.
Well, I know that there's always been other conversation about prison industries, and maybe now that we got a little bit better handle on your manpower. My understanding is you had about 16 officers. I was never crazy about the idea. I thought there might have been other badges that they could have put to work at the Department of Corrections, but that wasn't my decision. But now that you're a little bit more stable on the personnel side, you can send them back to GPD, right?
Yeah, we understand, the responsibility GPD has as well, and by them being at DOC, leaves the community short of police officers. So,
well, I just thought, if you were getting 16 guys, were there 16 other guys that you could have gotten from airport or some other department or agency?
The reason we went with GPD is because, again, the training is very different. Corrections officers receive different training, police receives different training, and likewise with the other police departments. But with GPD, they're more involved and have been trained in handling of the criminal element. So we felt that GPD was the best route. So when I asked the governor to see what he can do to assist, he graciously assisted. I know it was controversial at times, but people need to realize that at DOC we watch individuals who have been convicted on a 24/7 basis. We never close. 24/7 we have officers watching individuals. We see them. We take care of them medically. We do all we can as a community at DOC.
Well, and I'm not trying to take anything away from the training that those guys have got. I just thought that a trained police officer doing what were they doing? Chauffeuring guys between the lockup and the hospital and the lockup and I just thought that you could get a bus driver from DPW.
Not necessarily. Again, we don't take transporting inmates lightly. As a matter of fact, several years ago there was an inmate that escaped from the transport and almost killed a woman. So
I remember the story well.
It's actually more dangerous transporting individuals because now you have a lot of other circumstances that you have to deal with.
So you got guys back from their guard training, and you've got some guys coming in now that are coming to the end of their training, right?
Right. So we've got 4 finishing up on a cycle. And then we're interviewing former corrections officers who left for personal reasons or whatsoever. So if they left in good standing, we're considering them, trying to bring them back.
How many guys in total are you looking for?
I tell you, to bring us back to speed, when I first came on board, we were able to hire 36 new officers. But since January of last year, we've actually lost 42. It's not an easy job, and so it takes a lot of strain off our officers. So I need really to bring back more officers. We're working very closely with the administration and trying to at least get 13 to 16 additional recruit positions so that we can begin training those individuals.
Right. Now will that go any ways towards eliminating the overtime at the Department of Corrections?
Oh, yeah. Well, once we, for example, when we brought in the 36 officers in January of 17, we realized $1 million savings over about 4 months in overtime.
Well, I think just for while the police station was closed, didn't that account for about a savings of $300,000 on DepCorp?
Yeah, on the first 2 pay periods before our officers left for military, we showed, I believe it was in the paper, we provided that information. We saved about $80,000 per pay period for 2 pay periods.
Right. I remember the number being up real high because you had additional guys that could augment the force that you had, so that you weren't necessarily in the overtime gang. But still, even after you get these guys, I mean, if you're able to get 36 guys from returns or guys that are with broken service at the Department of Corrections, will that eliminate the overtime, or is just
no? If we bring back, for example, when we brought in 36 in 17 in January,
right,
we reduced overtime from $3 million to $1 million.
Okay, so the target should be 0 overtime, right?
Yeah, in order for us to eliminate 0 overtime, we'll probably need about 300 officers on board.
To watch how many guys?
700.
So you're looking interesting ratio, a couple of prisoners to each employee.
Yeah, but you have to remember we're a 24/7 operation, so you're not going to have that many officers on shift at any given time.
Right.
So we're going to 24-hour shift. I mean, we run 24 hours operation, so we'll probably go an 8-hour shift if that happens.
Well, I see the mathematics. So my ratio is it might be even more prisoners to the number of guards based on the shift policy.
Right.
Okay.
Depending upon the shift. Right.
Right, but 0 overtime, like I said, that ought to be the goal. Because sometimes I look at some of these operations that we have, and it feels like it's overtime as a practice, as a management practice, and you get a lot of guys that are happy to say, yeah, I'll do 10 hours today.
Well, you amazingly enough, when we first hired 36 officers back in January 17, we went to a 3.5 on, 3.5 off schedule. That's 12 hours, 3 days, and 6 hours 1 day. The officers loved it. Even though they got less overtime, they had more time to spend with their families and time to take off and recuperate. Now they're working 5 12-hour shifts. And sometimes we call them in on their RDO because someone got sick or someone didn't show up for work. And, although they receive overtime, but, it's very taxing on them as well.
Yeah. Well, I can see where that will happen. Well, I wish you very good luck with this. We're looking at some of the numbers that are coming in from the increase in the BPT, and it looks like there's an additional $6 million that was collected in the last month. That is additional to what would normally be collected in April. And
throw some our way and, on the stress.
We'll see what happens. Hey, dude, it's always nice talking to you. When are you going to come back? You know what? I was thinking it would be interesting depending on what happens election-wise. I'm presuming that you're hoping for a Tenorio victory. But if that doesn't happen, you remember we used to do a thing called, what was it, Military Mondays, where it'd be you or Chris Duenas? Yeah, get on the radio and start talking about the military buildup again. Are you still involved in that to any degree?
No, not really. But, I keep my ear very close to the ground and see what's happening.
Yeah.
I was quite involved in that before. So.
Well, it seems to be back on again, and, they've got some new people that are coming in, and we finally got the H-2B issue that is resolved, at least for military construction projects. And I know the guys in the construction companies that I'm talking to that have got the manpower and have got the contracts that, this is like a go show. So it might be interesting to have that conversation again so that we certainly keep the public up to speed on what's happening with the buildup, but also talk about the opportunities that many of the businesses might have with the buildup. And I recall you were pretty good at that, talking on the radio.
Yeah, not too bad.
Not too shabby. Hey, Ton, it's always good talking with you. We'll get together again soon.
Take it easy.
All right. And I hope I don't ever see you at work. I don't want to be at your shop.
I hope so too.
You come visit me at my work instead of me going to your place. At 8 a.m., 9 a.m. The Ray Gibson Show continues. KUSG Hagutnya is the radio station. Fox News Live is coming up. No Kevin Kerrigan on the other side, but maybe if we're lucky, I'll be able to get confirmation on that rumor that could be in the next couple of days that Doris Flores Brooks steps down from her position as public auditor to announce her campaign for Congresswoman. We'll see. Yeah, let's see what happens. Stay right there because it could be happening in the next hour. You don't want to miss a second. Fox News next.
Slammed by flash floods. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. Officials in Maryland dealing with dangerous flash flooding for the second time in 2 years.
Maryland authorities say more than 300 residents were assisted, about 30 of them by swift water rescue. Ellicott City Police Chief Gary Gardner says a missing National Guardsman and Air Force veteran is still being sought, adding the man was at a restaurant when a woman approached who said she was trying to find her cat.
He, along with some other folks, went back to assist her, and unfortunately during that effort, they saw him go under the water and not surface.
Damage and safety assessments are ongoing. State and federal elected officials promise that help for the city is on the way.
Fox's Gernal Scott. A large Gulf storm system washing out many Memorial Day events.
Subtropical storm Alberto, the first named storm of the season, pelting the region with day after day of rain, triggering severe storm warnings and even tornado watches. The heavy rainfall leading to a significant risk of flash flooding across the Florida Panhandle, much of Alabama, as well as Georgia. Maximum winds are reaching 50 and 60 miles an hour. Many holiday events, parades, and of course barbecues all canceled.
Fox's Phil Keating. President Trump today attending ceremonies at Arlington National Cemetery, honoring those who have fallen in service of the country.
To every parent who weeps for a child, to every child who mourns for a parent, and to every husband or wife whose heart has been torn in two, today we ask God to comfort your pain, to ease your sorrow, and to wipe away your tears.
The president also placing a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknowns. President Trump says the U.S. team is in North Korea working on plans for his summit with Kim Jong-un. Another delegation is in Singapore working on logistics. Fox News. Fair and balanced.
Manila, Osaka, Fukuoka.
Dreaming about your next vacation? With the FHB United Mileage Plus credit card, you can get 10% off on United Airlines flights from Guam to Manila, Osaka, or Fukuoka when you book your ticket by May 31. Book your flight on United.com at a United City ticket office or your local travel agency using promo code FHB18M. Visit FHB.com/UnitedFairSale18 for more details. Terms and conditions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
As we journey through the new year, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you.
Council. Learn more at fireadapted.org.
Millions of Americans hit the roads over the long holiday weekend and ended up paying some high prices for gas.
More people traveling this weekend than any time in the past 12 years, despite gasoline prices, which at the beginning of the weekend were pushing $3 a gallon, about 60 cents more than this time last year. You have to go back to 2014 before you saw gas prices that high. And now, according to AAA, a full 25% of America is paying at least $3 a gallon for gasoline.
Fox's Jeff Flock in Chicago. A 9-year-old South Carolina boy raises nearly $13,000 to help his brother. Andrew Emery wants to help his parents pay for the medical bills for his infant brother Dylan, who suffers from a rare and often lethal neurological condition. On Saturday, Emery spent 2 hours at a used truck dealership in Greenwood selling lemonade. More money has come from a benefit concert and a GoFundMe site. A San Francisco 49ers player getting some good legal news.
A misdemeanor marijuana charge against San Francisco 49ers linebacker Reuben Foster has been dismissed. The Tuscaloosa County District Court in Alabama confirming that they dropped the count from Foster's January arrest for possession on the condition that he pay court costs, which amounts to $100 and a bail bond fee. It's the latest in good legal news for the Niners linebacker, who had 2 felony charges related to domestic violence against him dismissed in California after the accuser, his ex-girlfriend, admitted lying to get back at Foster for breaking up with her. Foster still facing a misdemeanor assault rifle possession charge stemming from that same incident back in February. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
A special commencement ceremony for graduates at Brown University. Sting performed at the event, and both he and his wife were given honorary degrees. The degree yesterday isn't just for Sting's singing. He and his wife were recognized for his environmental efforts. The couple has co-founded a foundation protecting the world's rainforests. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News Radio.
What would you do with unlimited internet? With Docomo Pacific, the possibilities are endless. Docomo Pacific is throwing off the data caps so you can enjoy more of the things you love. Watch, stream, download, and play with no end in sight. Stop by any of our stores or check out DocomoPacific.com to learn more. Life becomes limitless with Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Yeah, you take that Docomo phone you got to King's and take pictures of your lunchtime meal. What do they got for lunch today? Well, it's Tuesday. I'll just reiterate that point. It's Tuesday, and so they have bissteak tomorrow. That's the big local special for today. Tomorrow, pork sinigang. Thursday is meatloaf, and Friday is beef tanak-tak. Or you can try the Pick 2 or Pick 3 combo packages. That's what's happening for lunch today at King's.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
But wait, there's more important things for me to tell you. Portions of the program brought to you by American President Lines. APL is shipping the future. Future.
Smoky Mountain Barbecue.
Howdy, folks. Can't get enough of my KFC Smoky Mountain Barbecue? I'm bringing more to Guam this month with my new KFC Smoky Mountain Grilled Barbecue Chicken. KFC's chicken coated with a sweet and smoky barbecue sauce. Oh, and by the way, Smoky Mountain Barbecue is still available on KFC's Extra Crispy Chicken and Boneless Strips. KFC, it's finger licking good.
The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
I found a new place to enjoy yakitori over the weekend. And it's one of these places that we wouldn't normally go into it. You know, it's just a little shop there on the street over by St. John's. There's a bar. It's called Izakaya. And it's a little cozy place you go into. There's a guy back there. It's Jimmy's Izakaya. And there's Jimmy and Gemini over there. And I went in there, and they fixed me up with all of my favorite kind of Japanese Izakaya dishes. Okonomiyaki, and the yakitori was there, and bowls and bowls and bowls of, what is this? The green things.
The green things?
The beans.
The beans.
The beans. I just all of a sudden can't remember what it was. Because I remembered Izakaya. I remembered the name of the place.
It just tasted like this. It's okay. That's all.
There was green things. And it was wonderful, and I had a good time. And they bring you, I said, I'd like an acai super dry. And the guy says, it's $8. I said, you're kidding. He says, no, but it's the big one. Oh, it's the one that's as long as my elbow from the, I'll take that one. I did 2 of those, as a matter of fact. All right, so where was I? Where had I left off in the program? An interesting call with Tony Lemorin from the Department of Corrections. They've got, they're out from under the guys from GPD helping them out. Saved them some money on the overtime, and they got guys that are coming back. They're trying to bring in some fellas that might have left the Department of Corrections under good circumstances. Yes, what's the words? Eligible for rehire at this time, and see if they can augment the force with some of those guys, keep the overtime down, and keep watching them. You know, I didn't have time. And maybe we'll save it up for the next conversation that I can have with the Department of Corrections, because it seems to me that there's a bigger conversation that we need to have about the Department of Corrections, and it comes up and it goes. It comes and it goes, and it kind of makes me crazy because we always talk about it, but we never actually make a decision on what to do with it. The Department of Corrections really has not changed all that much from when I was a little boy. Largely the same place. They've added stuff here, taken stuff there, put up a fence here, but it's for all intents and purposes kind of the same Department of Corrections. And I'm of the opinion, and I've shared this opinion with people that have run the Department of Corrections in the past, people over at the legislature with oversight of the Department of Corrections, and personally, I'd like to see, for a little bit, we take all of the guys that we've got in DepCorps right now and put them someplace. Like, I don't know, one of the North Islands, where there's no planes and no boats, and you just go up there, here's some farming equipment and some seeds. Go to it. But we'll come back and get you later. In the meantime, while they're up there on the North Islands, and guaranteed the first thing that they'll figure out how to do is to make something that you can drink and get drunk on. Because it's what men do. But anyway, so we take all these guys, we put them up there, and while they're up there, we'll build a new state-of-the-art Department of Corrections. Edamame. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. That's the word. Edamame. The green ones. Those are so good, and they're good for you. But anyway, so while these guys are up there farming the edamame, we'd make a brand new state-of-the-art Department of Corrections facility for them. And it'd be nice, and it would have all of the things that you see in the maximum security prisons that we got in the television shows. And places for the lesser offenders, the guys that aren't necessarily dangerous. You know, we still have to incarcerate them. We still have to correct them. But we'll put them in a place where, frankly, it might be cleaner, might be safer for them as well. And you're going to go, but Raymond, how are we going to pay? How do we pay for all of this? Well, I think one of the ways that we pay is we go back to the federal government and say, hey, listen, can you give us some money for this? And they'll say, why? Because with the Compact Impact, got a lot of these folks that we are taking care of, violation of one thing or another, and they wouldn't normally be here except for this compact migration that we've got going on that you put in the treaties. So maybe you could give us a couple of bucks and help out that way. And we're also going to make it someplace where we can hold on to federal detainees, of which there are a few, and send the bill back to the Fed and have them maybe help build us this new thing. Because the question always came up, where are we going to put it? And I thought the best place to put it would be kind of where it is now. I think everybody that lives around there, works around there, plays around there is used to the idea. And maybe they would be made a whole lot happier if they knew that there was a brand new, shiny prison facility right down the street. So they wouldn't necessarily have to worry about all of that stuff anymore. 888-8255, that's 888-TALK is the way to get a hold of me. And there's other ways that you can communicate with me as well. Among them, Facebook Live. This is a major innovation in broadcast technology. It used to be when the prison was new. Used to be you wanted to listen to a different voice or songs on the radio. You actually had to have a radio receiver that was tuned in to a transmitter. Well, we've got a transmitter, but we've also got significant technology here at the radio station that allows us to take the audio and video feed and put it up on Facebook. And there are hundreds of you that watch this every day. You might see a number on the screen. You go, oh, okay, I got 27 eyeballs on me. Well, that's 27 eyeballs right now. But it's not the same 27 people that have been with me all morning long. People come, people go. Lots and lots of folks are tuned into this stream. And if you like what you're watching, and you go, wow, I tuned in late like Jim Bigley just got here. If you just tuned in, you can go to YouTube later on, Ray Gibson Show, just search for that, and it has virtually every show that we've done here. It's one of the first things I do when I close this microphone is I open up a channel between here and YouTube so that I can upload the file of this morning's show. So if you miss something, you know, you want to hear what Klitsky had to say about Dave Cruz running with Dennis Rodriguez. He doesn't think that Cruz ought to be able to do it. He thinks there's a violation of the Hatch Act going on, and explained to me why he feels that way, and a little bit upset at the Attorney General's office for not doing more of it. There are people here that have been classified or unclassified members of the government of Guam, held government positions, that they had to resign in order so that they could run for public office. That's not the case with Dave Cruz, and there are people that are beginning to ask the question why. My suggestion to him was to go to the Civil Service Commission, because that is the appropriate venue for a complaint on the Hatch Act. Will he do it? Well, probably not today, because he was sick, a little bit under the weather, coughing spell while he was on with me. So I don't know that that's going to happen. But there's still plenty and all to talk about politically around here. I have floated the idea, and I'm beginning to get off the record assurances that I am correct, but nobody wants to go on the record and tell me what they know. And this is what I've been told. Doris Flores Brooks is confirmed to run for the delegate seat under the Republican Party. They've unofficially announced it because she is still the public auditor. But at some point, she's going to quit that job, and then she's going to run for the delegate, which means there's going to be an opening at the public auditor's office.
Right on.
She's the only one we've ever had there.
Wow.
Is that right? Yeah, she's the only one that we've ever elected for that position. There have been public auditors before, but she's the only one that's ever been elected to that position. So it will be interesting to see the same way that there are 65 people that are looking at the opening at the legislature saying, you know what, I can fit that. There's a bunch of people that aren't running for re-election over at the legislature. No surprise there. It's surprise is that the number is as big as it is. It's in my memory, I don't remember that many people saying that they're not going to be running for re-election or that they were going to be running for another office. So there's a lot of people that believe that there's a pretty good chance that they're going to get in there. I also believe not only do you have a pretty good chance of getting in there because the defile is open as wide as it is, right. But I also believe that there are a number of incumbent senators that will be excused from service in the upcoming election. I got a feeling that there might be some of them don't even make it through the primary. Will be asked to leave by public demand, as we used to say. Your position here is no longer required, and so see you later. Have a nice life, and don't come back. I think sometimes is the other thing. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much for your service. It was a wonderful 2 or 3 or 4 terms that you had in the legislature. Now go away and don't come back. There's a bunch of people that want to come back as well. Think that the opening is wide enough for them to come back in and impress us again with their fancy oratorical skills and conversations about policies. Don't worry, there's a list. I'll go through it a little bit later on.
The public does have a short memory.
They, unfortunately, if there's a memory at all, that sometimes can be short, but that's not entirely. There's a bunch of people with long institutional knowledge around here, and I like to claim that I remember a lot of stuff, but whenever I do, somebody will call in and impress me with the amount of stuff that they remember from even before that. I was talking about the 50-kilometer races, or the 50-mile races here on Guam, right? I was talking about that, and Bob Klitsky sends me a text. He says, "Oh yeah, we used to do that all the time." He and his wife Lulu used to run in those things right up into the 90s. Wow. That would be the 1990s, not their 90s. They're not that old. And so it's before my time as a runner, and it might be worth finding Richard Teitig one of these days over at the Guam Running Club and asking him if there's something to that, and maybe bring it back from its long Guam Running Club vacation to see if there's any new guys around here that might be interested or might be convinced that we need to run 50 miles in the muggy, in the hot.
I just... Yeah.
There's one that they do. In fact, they just had it a few weeks ago. It's a relay race basically, and you put together teams, and each member of the team has to run a couple of these legs, and it's basically the perimeter race, right around the bottom perimeter of the island. And I forget what the mileage is. I want to say it's up around 50. Right. But again, it's not an individual thing. You're doing this with a team. Now there are guys, Dave Torrey and Leo Kell. Ran I believe as a two-man team in this last perimeter. So yeah, there's this ultra distance, but I don't know too many people that have run it on their own.
Yeah,
saying.
That's a long way.
It's you gotta be in your head for a long time. Oh, yeah. And I know some people that should not be in their head at all.
I can't even
never
run
mind
to
for
the
hours and
grocery
hours.
Store, man. It's like that's 100 yards from my house.
So where was I? Bob and Connie Bartonico, 48.6 miles is what they say the perimeter is. I see Joe Servino. What are we doing? In what way are you talking about there, Joe? You're asking me a question, but I don't know what you're linking it to. I see Vic Camacho is on, and there's Mike Hernandez, Denise Legaspi. And we're talking about the prison industries. Why not put them to work in a chain gang doing labor for the community? Actually, you know what, Denise? When I was talking with Allie, says they do that. The problem is, number one, they don't tell anybody. And number two, it's probably security reasons why they're not going to call me up every morning and say, "Hey, Ray, they're going to be doing work by your house."
Yeah.
Because then they'll go, "Hey, you know what? I needed to drop off some methamphetamines and cell phones and cigarettes and Playboys to these guys."
Well, another thing I've heard, because I've brought it up too, because where I come from, you go to prison, you do hard labor. That's part of the gig. And I asked, why don't, we got all this trash that needs to be cleaned up, all these things that need to be done, weeds that need to be trimmed.
Yeah.
Why aren't these guys out of there doing it? And I was told it's against their human rights to make them work while they're in prison.
No, it's done, and you heard the guy explain it. For every 40 hours they work, they get a day off of their sentence. Yeah. So it's done. But the problem is, like I said, if you don't see it, it's not happening. Yeah. If you didn't feel the earthquake, it didn't happen. If I didn't feel the earthquake, it didn't happen. So unless they're on Marine Corps Drive or Route 8 or Route 10 or directly in front of your palace out there in Tamuning, unless you see it, you don't know. So, Tony's talking about all these vistas, all these places that get trashed, that get cleaned up and trashed, and apparently they're doing some of that work. So I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, me too.
Because I agree with you. I think that's the way it ought to be. I remember we were goofing off in Saipan. When I say goofing off, I generally mean drinking and barbecuing.
Oh, that's good.
And so I was with some friends and we're goofing off, and, got beer cans over here, not a trash can in sight. And so they were just kind of throwing it at the base of the tree. Yeah. And I said, "We got to clean that up before we go." And the guy says, No, it'll be clean in the morning. And I said, "Why?" He said, "Because in the middle of the night, prisoners are going to come here, and this place is going to be spotless by sunrise." And I remember going by that place the very next morning, and it was spotless. There wasn't a barbecue. There was a beer can in sight. The place where we did the barbecue and was clean, and I thought, well, we need to do more of that kind of stuff here. So maybe it's just a question of finding these guys, and in addition to cleaning up the vistas in Nimitz and doing the zabbau, the trimming and all of that of the sword grass, instead of doing that, or on top of doing that, let's take them down into Tumon, and let's take them to some of these other beaches that get trashed on a regular basis. Absolutely. And I'm sure that there's no shortage of the labor to get that done. We've got guys that are out there and doing it. So, Denise, that's the thing. You just we don't see him, so it's not that. I see Natalie Canetta is there. Joe and Mark Colby is back on, and Ray Gibson is on, and Renee and Yvette and Janae and a couple of other folks. Hi, Cecile. Nice to see you there. And anybody got any other juicy rumors that I can start playing? I'm not a fan of rumors, by the way, and I try not to do radio by rumor. It's just so much fun in election year, guys, isn't it? So let's play around with some of that. As I said, I'm waiting on the confirmation from Doris Flores Brooks. I don't want to say it's real. Even though I've heard it from people that are like super credible, whose opinions I trust, but until I hear it from her, it ain't real. We'll watch and see what the reaction is going to be. What's Janae writing now? DOC has been done, but you're right, they can't announce it, and the areas are limited. They routinely help mayors with grass cutting, but in certain areas, because some of them can't be within so many feet of a school and other places. They're good workers, despite the crimes. The guys in the halfway house are trying to reform, so let's give them as many opportunities as possible to get that reformation complete. Yes, reform, clean yourself up, and then run for political office. I'm going back to this. Sales tax faces revision or repeal. We're trying to get a hold of the governor's office for a little bit more splains on that. And my last I heard was, yeah, let me just get my notes together, because they know I'm going to ask hard questions, right?
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I was told, and still waiting on that call.
Well, the long and short of it is the government, according to oil, the press release, I guess, went out yesterday, and if you give me half a second, I'll pull it up on my WhatsApp so I can read bits and pieces of it to you. About $6 million more was collected in BPT for this April compared to last year's $16 million. So if last year, April, they got $16 million plus $6 million is $22 million. Okay. This is the first month of the 1% point increase. John Camacho, Department of Revenue and Taxation Director, who is off island. Maria Benito, also off island. I don't know who's running the place right now. But anyway, so John said, somebody told me that he was off island trying to work out is there another loan that we're trying to get? Talking with the guys at the, I'm looking at you because just as my sounding board. But somebody told me that they might be looking at the possibilities of working with one of the credit agencies for whatever reason. I'll see if I can find out about that. But he says, if we maintain this for the remainder of the fiscal year, then we should be okay. And then it talks about the federal tax policy, estimated $67 million in general fund shortfall. It is estimated to raise $25 million with the 1% point increase in the BPT. Requires a $30 million decrease in government expenditures before we're about where we were before the tax decreases came up. Camacho said, based on SES projections and actual collections, it is anticipated that the same level should hold for the remaining months of the fiscal year. Okay, so this is the question that I have. I'm not an expert. I just observe and I remember things. So while we were in this first month of the increase in the business privilege tax of 1%, while we were there, $33 million in tax refunds were mailed out. In fact, there was another $2 million or so worth of tax refunds that were mailed out just the other day, right? So the question that I have, is this increase indicative of what we are going to see every month? So they say yes. They say it should. But I don't know, because we don't get an additional $33 million in tax refunds out every month. It doesn't go like that. So I think what we're seeing is a radical increase. Number one, people have got less withholding, right? So they've got a few extra dollars in their pocket. That got spent. And then the tax refund checks came out. And I did not see a long line at the bank of people making deposits with their tax refunds. I saw a lot of people cashing their checks and doing all of that. So I'm just of the opinion that that money went out and circulated, and as it got circulated and spent 2 or 3 times, that meant that there was an increasing amount of that consumption tax that would not have normally been there if those $33 million in tax refunds wasn't out. So this month, brand new month, how much in tax refunds have gone out in May? What, 4 million? So watch what happens next month and see if the tax monies, if the receipts come in at another $6 million, or if it comes in a little bit shorter because there's few actual dollars to spend here. That's all I'm saying. And I might be wrong. Like I said, as I started the conversation, sorry, not an expert. This is an economic conversation, and there are 1,000 different factors in the force field, including how many of those dollars are tourist dollars. Was there uptick in that, in any particular spend category that would have made a difference? And the answer is, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. While we are having this discussion, I think it's an important point to bring up because the legislature is going to go through a couple of bills here in a few days. There's going to be public hearings in a few days on the topic of repealing the measure that increased the BPT by 1%. They want to have that conversation over at the legislature, and they're gonna. And I want to make sure, as we are talking about the economic facts of the case, that that bubble, if you will, is brought up. Because it seems to me that that needs to be something that they talk about over at the legislature. I'm not wild about this increase in the BPT, and even when it's gone, I'm of the opinion, even if they repealed it tomorrow, I think the additional prices are there to stay. The businesses know that you'll put up with another 50 cents if you're buying a cup of coffee, or another $1 for your dinner. They know that they've seen a new barrier to your spend. They didn't get any complaints about what they were charging you under the new BPT. They're not anticipating any complaints when the BPT goes away. So that's one of the other points that I kind of want to make out here. So they'll have the conversation over at the legislature. There's going to be public hearings. This I can predict with a great degree of accuracy. I believe that we are going to hear all of the same arguments against an increase in the BPT that we heard initially. Now, there is another point that they make in this press release on the additional revenue that they were able to get, again, $6 million on top of about 16 that they would normally get, and that is they're projecting forward to a time where the BPT will be restored to 4% and then joined by an additional 2% in a visible sales tax, which is the press release quotes many people in the business community said would be better than the business privilege tax. Yes, they did say that, but they expected a conversion. So there would be a 2% BPT and a 2% visible sales tax, as opposed to 4% and a 2% visible sales tax, which is 6% worth of taxes on all of our purchases. What they were looking for, again, was 4, not 6. So we need to go back and have that conversation. It happened in one of those, oh, my God, the legislature's working too late, nobody ate, and they were all lightheaded from not having
the whole
dinner.
thing has me confused.
Really?
Completely. No. Why don't they just make it all visible sales tax and be done with it?
The point, and we made that point when the conversation was fresh, and the idea that they cannot comes from the notion that we have many loans that we've taken out for a variety of things. And the loans are meant to be repaid with business privilege taxes. So if we have a sales tax, that's not the same as the business privilege tax. The notion is that yeah, we gotta pay for it that way. Okay, and I'm thinking, well, we'll just call everything BPT equals sales tax, and then we're out of the situation, or rename the sales tax business privilege tax. It just happens to be visible. What difference does it make? And then the guys that we owe money to shouldn't have too much of a problem. All right, so 9:31. is the time. We'll just quickly head into the break, and I'll grab a couple of calls from the other experts that listen to the radio station all the time. 9:31 is iConnect time. Connect longer for less with their push-to-talk and mobile plans.
In this divided world, there are still a few things that unite us. The thrill of an exciting championship game.
Fires to the end zone. Touchdown!
The sound of great music.
The Grammy goes to...
And the love we have for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam presents to you For the Love of Burgers menu. For a limited time, we want you to put down that fork, tuck that napkin in your collar, and go for broke with an amazing burger for just $11.99. 8 burgers to try, and time is a-wasting. Ruby Tuesday Guam lunchtime. See you soon.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training every morning on The Ray Gibson Show.
How much should we spend on training? Is there a way to decide that? I'm Jerry Roberts, and at 7:20 a.m. on The Ray Gibson Show, I'm going to give you the only way you should ever use to figure that out. And I may be the first person to ever lay it out for you exactly like this.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point by Jerry Roberts at GuamTraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts on The Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point.
Good morning, Yuka. And Renee and Pat Taitagui and Luisa Borja Muña. I recognize that senatorial name right there on the Facebook Live. Good to have you on. And thanks, everybody, for joining the conversation there. There's sometimes some very interesting side chats going on. Bob and Connie out in Korea. Isn't that interesting? So I'd asked a question earlier about why it is that when Koreans come to Guam, they cover themselves from head to toe. And I'm not going to say that there is a caste system, but somebody else kind of suggested that that is the case. And maybe let me get Ken in on this. No way. Who's this? Tom? Brother Tom? Tomas?
Hello.
Migo. So the idea is that if you've got dark skin, then you're an outside laborer type person, and if you've got white pale skin, then you're inside and I don't know, less vulgar, got more money, all of that stuff. And the idea is you keep your kids white and pale for as long as possible because it improves their chances of getting a good career or finding a perfect mate.
Are you still talking to me?
Yeah. No, I wanted to finish the thought, but I wanted to get you too. So maybe you've got an opinion on why it is that Koreans cover themselves from head to toe when they come to Guam.
Oh, I don't know anything about that, but I called about something else.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, anyway, I was suggesting before, but of course nobody wants to listen to all me, right?
Whatever. Go ahead.
But I was suggesting on the radio a couple of times, even on your show, I think, that they should hold off yet on repealing that 2% sales tax until they see whether there's enough collections from revenue and tax that are, those are the uncollected taxes, right? Let's see first if we're going to have enough to cover the immediate needs of the hospital and DOE. Because if they repeal it now, then find out later that they still don't have enough funds for the hospital and DOE, what are they going to do? They're going to reactivate the sales tax again? It's already done. It's in the law now, so let's leave it alone until later. If we need to repeal it, then we'll repeal it.
Well, the problem is, you're the only one that has that kind of confidence in the government of Guam to do what they say they're supposed to be doing. You heard the guys over at the legislature, week before, that roundly admonished the Department of Revenue and Taxation for not doing what they were given the money. They weren't given the money. They were given the appropriation to make hires so that they could get more tax guys in there to do exactly that, for collections, for surveillance, all of the things that we want them to be able to do to make sure that they're getting everybody's fair share into the government of Guam. And they were unable to do that. And so BJ gave them a hard time, and I know they've been trying to hire guys, but it's like the Department of Corrections stories. We need 34 guys. Okay, well, we hired 34 guys, but we lost 16.
Yeah.
So,
what happens if they don't collect enough by October 1 and they already repealed the sales tax?
They're going to have to stop spending. Sorry, if you don't, it's the same thing at my house. If my paycheck runs short for whatever reason, guess what? I have to stop spending. Turn off the lights if nobody's in the room, and I'm gonna, instead of buying the beer that costs $9 a six-pack, I'm gonna buy the one that costs $4.99 a six-pack.
I agree with you. You know, the spending cut needs to be done, but you know, no politician is going to want to do that because they want the vote of the people, and they don't want to cut services.
Well, the people are getting tired of hearing that GMH doesn't have any money. Why doesn't GMH have any money? They've got collection issues over at that place as well. But that's GMH's problem. Why is that always my problem as the taxpayer?
That's true. I agree with you. Yeah. I don't know what else to say.
I know what you're saying. I get the point. And the last time, the argument can be made. The last time that there was a rout over at the legislature wasn't because they put they put an increase in the GRT. It's just that they flip-flopped and they pulled it back because they couldn't handle the heat from the voters. I know a bunch of people that voted people out for exactly that reason.
Yeah. The way I see it is that it's part of the blame is us voters. We cannot seem to find the right candidates to manage our money properly. We got to learn, us voters, we got to learn to pick people to manage our money for us and our government for us, not just by popularity.
Right.
It seems like we're voting for people just because they're popular or they're well known, but we don't know what their background is, what is in their brain, you know?
Well, I'm the kind of guy that would like to see people run for office that have literally created, managed private businesses, and know what the struggle is to make sure that you've got enough money coming in so that you can cover payroll, so that you can cover your GRT back to the government of Guam. That's what I'd like to see. I want to see people running on their accomplishments, and getting elected to the Youth Congress is not an accomplishment. And working for Senator so-and-so all these years, not necessarily the accomplishment I'm looking for. You tell me what your private sector experience is.
And I'm also getting disgusted with our legislatures because they seem to confirm people to put them in a director's position who don't really know the job. Like, look at the director of land management. They confirmed him. They confirmed him to be the director of land management, and we're finding out now that yes, that doesn't know another thing about the job.
Phew. And thank God Pika's there. Thank God that woman is there. I think somebody needs to pick up a packet in her name over at the Election Commission, because frankly, I'm very impressed with what she's been able to do there so far. I'm disappointed they haven't actually voided any of the leases. But I know they're working in that direction. Moss, I'm going to let you go.
Okay, Ray.
Mr. Migo.
For letting me vent out.
No, you vent all the time, and I might not always agree with you, and I try to disagree gently in some cases. If we're not making enough from our collections, from the revenue that is generated in this town, then we have to stop spending.
Yeah, I don't know what our island will do without you being around. Don't ever leave us, okay?
Okay, I'll just stay here every morning. Okay, buddy, I'll talk to you pretty soon.
All right.
You don't need me. You don't need me. There's other guys out there, other voices that are out there. You know, I enjoy hearing from Daryl Taggarty all the time. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. I'm glad you're back. This is a short week for you.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Well, enjoy.
No. I did. I had a great 3-day weekend, and it was goofing off with family and friends, and I have taken advantage of a few opportunities in my schedule to go try different things. Like I said, I've been in that izakaya like once before, but this time I actually was able to sit down and eat. And they got really good Japanese food there. I think, what I think they have? I got to check for next time. Next time you and I go. Is habu sake. You know what that is?
No.
It is a sake. Habu is a snake in Okinawa.
Ah.
And they make sake, and they take the snakes and they put it in the fermentation. And then there's a bottle. They give you a bottle of it, and there's a snake in the bottle.
Much better than frostbit toes.
Yeah, well, from that conversation, you've been on for a while. Anyway, so what was it that we were talking about when you dialed in? Do you remember?
Well, no, actually, I was going to talk about something. Well, you were talking about the new breed of politicians. That's what I wrote about yesterday. It was in the paper yesterday.
Did you write about that? Didn't Ron McNinch write a thing about a new breed too?
Oh, I don't know. But
did I not see your editorial?
Or not? Yesterday.
Okay, I'll look. I'll look again. I could have swore I read all of them, but so what was the point of yours? Oh, the new breed of politician. You want a different stripe of guy to get up there and raise their right hand for the job.
Well, you know, it seems to me, Tom brought up a really good point, and it dovetails nicely into what I wrote yesterday. It seems to me that if politicians are concerned about re-election, and so they won't do the right thing while they're in the job, there are so many now not running for re-election. Going out, we should be able to get a consensus on what needs to be done. These budget hearings are going on, but they're not saying a thing about the $100 million shortfall for next year. It's just rolling down $900 million requested budget that was put together and submitted in February.
Yeah. Well,
now, this is insane. You're going to wait until after the election?
Well, isn't that a preferred tactic?
Yeah, the tactic that's victimizing not only us but also GovGuam employees.
Okay, so here let's make a prediction.
Push down the road.
Let's make a prediction here, right? No new annual budget. They're gonna take what we've got right now, with an increase in the BPT wherever that is, and we're just going to roll over. For about 6 months.
Well, that's a good reason not to vote any income.
It's happened before.
We're paying them today to do this job,
and they'll say we got a budget out. It looks like the 2018 budget, but there's so many unknowns.
That's why the check mark goes in the other box.
but there's what's the word? There's going to be so much uncertainty over what our revenues are going to be in 2019. We're pretty sure that it might feel like what we're getting in 2018. So we'll just roll things over and have whatever administration is coming in. We'll have them continue with these with the shortage on the appropriations. The actual cash payments to the departments and agencies, and we'll keep the BPT at 5%.
The tax plan is intended to bring in money in $5 to $20 million chunks. It's not intended to cover $60 to $100 million shortfall.
Right.
So they've got to identify cuts, and those cuts have to be identified, and people have to be put on notice. They don't, and if the revenues are good, then they don't have to go through with it. But there has to be a thought-through strategic plan.
Frank Uggan had one, didn't he? Didn't Frank come out with when we were in the middle of the fiscal crisis? Darrell, didn't we have the guys come out and bravely say the words reorganize?
And said the governor can reorganize. We're still hearing the governor's $900 million request.
Yeah, well, and
that's the legislature's role.
Well, aren't they doing the what does BJ call it? Zero basing the budget. So as an example, 2:00 this afternoon, the Office of Technology is going to be coming in here, and I remarked a couple of hours ago, and I think you responded to it on Facebook Live.
Yes.
What the hell has the Office of Technology done since there has been an Office of Technology?
Well, just like you have a BBMR and you have a Bureau of Planning, you have umbrella agencies that deal with, and like procurement, you have umbrella agencies that will take care of multi-agency issues.
Okay.
And so they're supposed to integrate the government of Guam's technology so it's cheap and you don't have this procurement for technology going on atomized across all the agencies. It's coordinated. Everything can talk to each other because that's what's been going on up to now.
Right. And so how long have they been using the AS400?
Well, that needs to be budgeted for. They need to get specs. They need to go out. And this is where the Office of Technology is supposed to be working. And let's see, how many employees they have
I don't know. I'm wondering, is, when we think about the technology, I think about a certain expectation, and I'm not talking about the World Wide Web, but just certain expectations that there are new and different pieces of the IT infrastructure of the government of Guam that can be exploited for everybody's use, and I haven't seen it yet.
Well, that's why I made that comment on Facebook Live about about being able to televise or broadcast through internet and television, and for video on demand, all of the public meetings that happen in all the agencies, not just the legislature sessions and hearings. That was ready. That could have been done 3 years ago. But if it's not budgeted for, then the agencies should not be budgeting separately for them. That's what the Office of Technology is supposed to coordinate, so that you have the same install, the same equipment, and a control point so that it could be scheduled like C-SPAN.
Right, and understand completely. And we're just talking about video technology that that is now as transportable, as portable as an email file or a picture or a movie on the internet. It's just bits, guys, and it can go through the same wires that our phone calls are going through, and like I said, all of the stuff that we're uploading and downloading. But where is that? Where is that coordination? As an example, Doris Brooks and I have had multiple conversations about, taking the terrible, antiquated system they have at the Department of Revenue and Taxation, which requires multiple manual steps, and finding some new software. That software needs to talk to everything over at Land Management. It needs to talk to everything at the Department of Administration. It needs to talk to stuff at the hospital. It should talk to the things in a library.
BBMR, the governor's fiscal advisor, all should have a window into the weekly, daily, weekly changes in our accounts.
Me too. Me too. We should have that. So I don't know. So and getting back to what we were originally talking about is it's a $900 million budget that we're looking at for 2019, maybe. And I don't know that there needs to be as much government of Guam in the 2019 budget as we've got this year. But it's going to be tricky. It's an election year. And as I said, what I can see happening is the guys are going to take the easy way out and say, because our crystal ball is not clear enough, Daryl, we're just going to take the budget that we know seems to be working and roll that over into 2019.
It's too bad because we're not paying people to do politics.
No,
I'm just people to do their job.
And if it happens, remember I said it. But if it doesn't happen, it's just BS yakking on the radio. Okay.
Well, I'm just talking to voters.
Yep.
I'll
see you pretty soon.
Thanks for the time.
No, it's always fun talking with you. Oh, wait! I was going to ask you a question. What is going on in that corner lot where you used to have the KPRG antenna?
Oh, that was family land we bought from the Wistigs back in '64, '65.
Yeah. And
my dad liquidated it several years ago. So there's somebody building a building on it, and it's the building I always wanted on it. But my dad liquidated that property.
Ah, okay. Well, I'll keep an eye on it. I think about you every time I run or walk by that place.
You know that I put that KPRG sign up. And Rex was throwing a fit over this illegal sign, but it wasn't because it was on private property, and it was. I made the sign myself.
It was art. I thought it was art.
Well, it was designed to sort of hang in the air, so you couldn't see the frame, and you could just see the letters, the numbers. And then I would put it on a float and have it go down Marine Drive during on Liberation Parade, so that then the same sign was moving past 20, 30,000 people, and it was just killer. I have the successor sign in my backyard. It's made of aluminum.
Just change the call signs. KUSG. Dude, I got to run. I'll see you later.
Okay.
Bye, Daryl. 888-8255. 10 away from the top of the hour. Quick break. Come back with Bart Jackson. We'll talk about asylum seekers.
Are you a homeowner looking to save money on your power bill? Ever thought about getting solar on your roof? If the answer is yes, Micronesia Renewable Energy will install a solar energy system on your roof for zero money down, so you can save money on your power bill. Sign up in the month of May, and MRE will pay you $400 in cash. That's right. In the month of May, get a solar energy system on your roof, and MRE will pay you $400 just for signing up. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
Circle K has just made it easier to select products that are better for you and your healthier lifestyle. When looking for items that are low carb, low sodium, low calories, low sugar, high in antioxidants, or high in protein, just look for the easy-to-spot better for you labels so you can find these items at a glance. Come by and see for yourself. It has never been more convenient to fill up on anything and everything that are better for you. Circle K. Take it easy.
9 away from 10 o'clock in the morning. We saved the best for last. Bart Jackson's in town. We talked to him a little bit last week, and probably one of the most informative segments of the program I've done yet, where we talked about getting Koreans in their rental cars to your businesses. And the answer is it's all on the internet. They're from the internet. They're from the Korean internet. And so if you can find a way to get some kind of influence on that, then please take advantage of it. Even if it's something as simple as making sure your local customers are putting good reviews on TripAdvisor, because that's one of the sites that they go to. And if they see a lot of happy remarks about Three Squares or the bar at Santa Fe, then they're going to want to go there too, just like anywhere else. So talk to your customers about, and incentivize it. There's what's the name of that place next to Outback? You know where I'm talking about in the building, Bart? I don't know. It's a chicken place. I want to say it's a chicken place. I think it's a Chinese place, but they got the karaage chicken that they make there. And if the deal is, if you post it on the TripAdvisor, they give it to you for free or for half off or something like that. So they incentivize.
Sounds like a good deal.
Right. They incentivize, the use of the TripAdvisor, and if you got, good remarks to say about the business, the Koreans read that and they'll want to go to your place. Anyway, but the reason why I'm calling today is you've been quoted in the Daily Post talking about Russian runaways.
Yeah, Russian asylum seekers.
Mm-hmm.
And Guam is the only destination in the United States that allows Russians to come visa free. So there's no vetting of people. And then there are folks who are oppressed or feel like they're oppressed in Russia, and they have the right, as anyone does, who comes to the United States, to seek political asylum if that's what they feel they need to do.
Sure.
And so we've heard there's a good number of folks here who have done that. But GVB we are a marketing organization. We are not a law enforcement organization or a visa enforcement organization. And so what we've done is we've discussed it with the FBI, and as this being something that we're hearing that they need to be aware of. But I'm not really sure how big a problem it is. I'm hearing rumblings within the Russian community that there are a number of folks here.
That came as tourists and are actively applying now for asylum.
Yes. Now, of course, it's not my understanding is it's not an easy process, especially under President Trump, and that there are thousands, if not millions, of folks on the mainland who are seeking asylum that are being turned down quicker than they can apply.
Right.
And that's the administration's whatever their orientation is how that goes, because it's not really so much a legal issue as it is a administration issue, is my understanding. And I'm not really well versed on it, but I know a little bit about how it works.
Well, crazy about the borders, and there are these massive issues where hundreds and hundreds of people will come in, but the immigration courts are jam packed with people that they've already got. So there's this long process, and they say, Bart, come back next Wednesday for your hearing, and Bart says, see you later, Jack, and and disappears into the community.
Yeah, well, of course, that's right. Meanwhile, they're allowed to stay until their case is called up for decision and then eventually decided. So there are folks who have come and who have applied for asylum and who are then given the opportunity to live and I think work. I believe they can work while they're here. I'm not sure.
Well, they've got to sustain themselves. They can't become wards of the state. So
yeah,
sure.
That's right. That's right. So they're doing something, and we're just trying to, again, it's not our place to regulate it. It's not our place to monitor it, but it is something that we have heard. And so I wanted to make sure that we were in touch with the proper authorities to alert them to what we were hearing is a potential problem, because we don't want anything to get in the way of Russian tourism. No. And we have Russian tourists by virtue of an executive order, which can change, with a signature by the president. We have Russian visitors today, and we have a small industry for those visitors. But, President Trump can wake up tomorrow and say, I don't like that idea.
Yeah, we got too many guys that are overstaying their permits, and we've got a number of denials coming in from the visa desk. So maybe we've got something serious going on there, and they're going to have to put a stop to it. There are still some Russians that are trickling in, huh?
Yeah, I think we're on target to do something like 5,000 arrivals, which doesn't sound like a lot until you consider that Russians stay on average 2 weeks versus a 3 to 4 day stay by our Japanese or Korean visitors. And so effectively, 5,000, if you multiply it times 5 is 25,000, which still isn't a great number, but they spend money, they drive around, they impact villages, they buy real estate, they like to come and spend money, and so they're really good customers to have. And I think, as I told you in our last discussion, there are a bunch of airlines that are now creating better connections and are talking about direct flights, which is the key.
Yeah, and the other piece of good news, I guess GVB won a contest at the Moscow show.
Yeah. Yes, we did win. No, that was the Vladivostok show.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Moscow's far away. Vladivostok is right up the street.
Right. So that was the Pacific International Travel Expo held in Far Eastern University in Vladivostok, and we took a group up there. I took a group, some GVB staffers and our office, and some other folks on the board, and we had a very successful visit, and we won Best Booth. Which is always nice, but there wasn't a lot of competition, frankly speaking.
So take the win. Take the win. It doesn't matter what the rest of the field looked like. Take the win. Hey, I'm closing in on the top of the hour. Just a real quick question of something that cultural, and I don't completely understand. I did dolphin watching. I was wearing my bikini, but the Koreans that were with me on this dolphin watch tour, the Discover, Jack over at Discover, the Korean lady was covered head to toe. Why did they do that?
Head to toe. It's about the sun. Too much sun.
Yeah.
Too much sun, too much suntan, skin cancer, etc. So there are, the Korean community is as unafraid as they are of North Korea, completely timid when it comes to potential health risks. And so they cover up and they lather their kids with the most enormous amount of sunscreen and helmets and visors and everything. You got it. They're going to wear it.
And so there's an opportunity for somebody that is sharp enough to be able to start putting local designs on the things that they cover themselves head to toe with, and getting the Guam brands and some Guam logos in there. Dude, I got to run. I'll talk to you pretty soon, Bart.
Thank you, Ray. Nice to chat with you. That's
always a fun chat. KUSG Agania, the radio station is The Point. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks for being a part of Facebook Live. We'll be back here tomorrow, 6 a.m., right? Rain or shine, bright and or early. I'm never either. Never both. Stand by for Fox News Live and right-wing bomb throwers all day long here on The Point.
Dangerous flash flooding. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. Residents of Ellicott City, Maryland, dealing with devastating flash flooding for the second time in 2 years.
The water was so powerful it swept cars down Main Street. Police say they're searching for a missing 39-year-old man last seen at a downtown restaurant. Sunday night, several inches of rain soaked the area in just a few hours. Kathy Taylor owns a business downtown.
Is this what